On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, it finally happened. The Strangefake Collab is here. Is it everything you ever wanted? Plus, also, I'm going to be real with you. There was a Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest with some speeches, so we're going to talk about a lot of that in the back half, too.
Oh, God, we're going to talk about a lot. You guys don't even
Hi.
understand.
I'm one of your hosts, Omega. With me, as always, is Lucky. Or are we? Perhaps we are just an illusion.
Sorry, I couldn't
Good
resist.
use of
Anyway,
the
I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, a.k.a. an axe to grind. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest and FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP&E version of the game, so anyone not want to spoil it should wait until Berlin.
A classic joke already. I did see some people posting like, this is your first FanFest cycle, huh? The first one is always just, hype moments and aura. You don't actually find out anything until the second one, usually. Not 100% true, actually. I think Anaheim had some great stuff, but yeah, it's an interesting one.
It's all foundation and setup.
I mean, Yoshi P had I think they said it was supposed to be 2 hours, but it felt longer. It was a big, long keynote. He had a lot of foundation work to lay down that'll be picked up later. But yes, it's back. It's Let's Talk FGO. And yes, if you are looking at the date, we're recording this a day later, but not $1 short. Because if we had recorded this Friday night, this would be nothing but a Final Fantasy podcast.
I would like to avoid that, yes.
Yeah, well, that's not to say we aren't excited about Final Fantasy XIV, but we killed What's Up and combined it with Let's Talk FGO, so we record one podcast every week, and it's still titled Let's Talk FGO. So there would have been basically none of that. So we delayed a little to get the strange fake news, and I think that's worth talking about. There's been some interesting things to come out of it, but we'll be talking about more later. I also do want to go ahead and shout out our patrons and all of our wonderful and beautiful listeners, but especially our patrons who make this show possible. Thanks, gang. More on that later. And real quick, just because we don't have a lot of early show bees knees, let's go ahead and check in with everybody's favorite Kohai Mash real quick.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because that means it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, Wake the Fuck Up for Pro Tips. I have a simple one this week, but the Chaldea Summer Adventure rerun is ongoing. It was announced last week. It has launched. It's been going for a little bit. It's the return of our bestest boy, Steggy.
Steggy!
He is my goat. But that also means it's time to farm treasure chests, which is why this rerun was picked in the poll in Japan. It's a pseudo-lotto, so make sure you are racking up your treasure chests and making sure you are spending your treasure chests not only to get the treasure point rewards, but also to get the appropriate levels of mats. If for some reason you forgot and did not check the short I did do on Friday, to kind of remind it, the type of treasure chest corresponds to the type of loot, so you get bronze mats from bronze chests. So yes, keep on collecting your treasure chests and keep on spending them. I have actually made sure to spend a little bit of time working on the event. Don't want it to be, the last 3 days of the rerun and not have finished it because there is bonus grail. And, 5 free rare prisms if you do the full collection of the extra Da Vinci copies. But that means moving along, there are no records and no evils. It's a rerun. What are you expecting from us? And we move on to, did you finish your master missions? To complete your master missions this week, you'll need to defeat 3 neutral servants, defeat 3 good servants, defeat 20 enemies, and then defeat 40 enemies, defeat 15 enemies with the Heaven attribute, and defeat 15 enemies with the Undead trait. I am fairly certain this is asking you to do the event. Shocking, I know, gang. But that will take us on to Scalograms, which is our one single biggle-boggle bit of news. So, in JP, they have launched, literally calendar today, as of the time recording this, the Strangefake Collab. Oh, sorry. Caught in my throat. Which is weird, because I literally just took a sip of water. But the Strangefake Collab is Annihilation Crusade Front, Antiochia, which is very Greek. Starts the 25th, goes until the 16th. It is our Strangefake Collab. It is a mission event, of course, and obviously seems thematically linked to the Camelot Singularity. And we did get our wave of news. So, our welfare will be 4-star rider Hippolyta, and she does get double XP. The summon banner is Prelati, and Caster Giles in the 3-star slot. And, of course, new CEs. And no other major news or updates at this time. There do not appear to be any initial wave of, extra updates or anything. I don't know if anybody in the huge bonus servant list requires a rank up, but they'll probably do that in, a few days from now, or about a week maybe. So wouldn't be shocked if there aren't some rank ups, but that is the collection we get. And this is interesting. We'll talk about the servant details later. I do want to say about some comments. I have some people kind of wondering about Prelati, but the short version is Prelati is another one of them servants that's actually two servants.
Yep.
As in literally has, branching different skills and branching different NPs. Also, having watched the season of Strangefake, I'm pretty sure I'm not crazy, but Francois and Francesca have two different voice actors, so that means that the servant also has two, different sets of battle voice lines to record. I presume in, my room, they just, switch off. But in combat, that means two full sets of voice lines they have to record. So, yeah, it's not like they skimped out or anything, but definitely 1 5-star and then the welfare is not necessarily what we were expecting. But the event's going to run for 3 weeks, so I guess we'll see.
No, there has been a little bit of doomsaying and lamenting in our own Discord. I haven't really seen them out, and I can understand it. I did stay up to actually watch the stream. It was very Kano-san had to try 3 times to get his introduction out because he kept busting out. He busted out laughing the first 2 times. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But with the very basic CM, only 1 5-star and the welfare, it very much definitely a feeling of whelmed.
Yeah, I think that's the right way. Whelmed. Not underwhelmed, but definitely whelmed. I myself, I didn't stay up to whatchamacallit, to watch the stream, but I did get up, and usually what I do when a new FGO event, drops in JP, I'll check the CMs, on YouTube, and I was just like, oh, no animated CM? Just slideshows? Interesting.
No, but as you said, we have 3 weeks. There are some silhouettes for more characters that was shown, and whatnot, so we will hope for more.
I feel pretty confident there will be a second banner of some kind, but I don't know exactly to what extent. It does kind of feel like we're not going to get the great big smorgasbord we would have hoped for, but obviously, hoping for literally every Strangefake character would be pie in the sky.
Yeah.
I hope we have not been pushing for, that in the sense of, oh, yes, literally everybody summonable. Definitely we've been discussing this and been what characters will show up, who will it be? And it's well, Pale Rider's really cool, but I don't know how they're going to make that one work,
But no, Lucky called both his 5-star caster Prelati and 4-star rider Polita, so.
I know some people were thinking about Prelati as a 4-star, but I definitely feel especially with all the... If you guys didn't know, gang, they posted one Sawano track a week basically for a while there. And under every track until Curtsy came out, everybody was like, "Where's Curtsy?" Which is Francesca's leitmotif in the anime. So it's no, that tracks. That definitely tracks, especially like I said with all the extra effort put into it. That tracks as a 5-star. And I was a little surprised, but hearing Hippolyta as the welfare, I was like, no, wait, that makes sense. She was only in 1 episode of the anime. Her part in the first core's plot is not very big, and you only really see the 1 look. So no, that does work. You never know. You might get to see a second with her. She might get a costume. Her final ascension is her hair down, so I guess we'll see if they do that. But definitely feels like that's a good fit to kind of lock in. But obviously, we will have to see if other characters do show up and obviously how it is. Personally, obviously, while it's in Japanese, we can't really comment much on the writing, but I'm I've never been afraid for the story content of this collab. Narita themselves wrote it. I will say it is interesting to see. This is something that has also come out. People have been double-checking the numbers, and it does appear that the original, internal ID codes for Hippolyta and Prelati are about a year old. So this really was planned to come out probably last year, but then because the anime was so delayed, they did decide to kind of put it off, which is really interesting. So maybe that's why the banner and the starting servants are so simple, because it was originally planned to be lighter.
Maybe.
But now obviously they had a whole extra year of dev time. I would be shocked if they didn't have any more work done on it.
Like I said, I did have to caution people to not, argue and talk in circles on the subject, because at this point, all we can do is just wait and see what happens.
Wait and dare to hope, yeah. And like, it's not the first time it's happened. I do hope, obviously, this doesn't indicate that the gap for some of these characters will be this long. But if you guys didn't know, that is originally how Mary Alter was. She was supposed to be in the Requiem event, but wasn't. And then obviously they just waited for the right time to use her, which was id. But on the flip side, if they like, I feel like the Strangefake collab is almost like the reverse. Instead of the servants getting delayed, the event got delayed. So, like, that could mean that we could see characters who weren't ready when they originally planned later. So we will, as like I said, have to find out. FGO is in kind of an odd space, you know, now that we're in kind of the post-game. But we will see, you know. I think, honestly, the more interesting thing, like we said, is that, like, the CMs are kind of like bare bones. But on the flip side, I guess the studio who would animate the CM would be the guys who make the Strangefake anime, and they're probably pretty busy.
No, like, I do know that they've outsourced it to, like, Wit Studios and what, but usually A1 is usually the one who does their CMs, and they have been busy. Very busy.
I mean, and if it's your anime, wouldn't you want to cut your own CM? Seems right, yeah. Yes, also, that is something, somebody brought this up in our Patreon chat. Because on Patreon, you can both listen live at the higher levels and see the Patreon chat at any level. Yeah, the silhouettes they showed kind of looks like some of the stuff we've got for the Sir not appearing in this year, the character who got delayed. You know, if y'all don't know about Strangefake stuff, put your earmuffs on real quick, everybody. But based on those things, I'm wondering if Humbaba.
I'm thinking Humbaba. Humbaba was another one that I was predicting would show because I think they'd be able to do really well with that. So I'm excited.
Also, that would be really interesting to see as like not the welfare, but with the full spread. Like, I think, you know, Berserker Jack, he's a real cool guy. I like him. I think they could do interesting things. But also, I could absolutely see them being like, well, this guy's an absolute shapeshifter, so what the fuck do we do, like, for sprites, you know? Like, what do we have the artist do kind of a thing?
I still like the idea of the pseudo with flat. I really do.
Yeah, a lot of people like that theory. We'll see if they go for it, because I think like they showed some silhouettes that might be flat as like an NPC.
Yeah, I also believe Dumas. One of them was also Dumas, I believe.
So, that at least is like if Dumas not in the event, we could. It would be weird, but Anniversary is coming up. We could have another set of bronzes. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
We like bronze servants. I know that we're not like doing major story revolutions, but I'm sure there's some people in the NPC jail who could be going through. But yeah, it was an interesting time, like you said. It was very. I think that is the right word to say that, like, you know, it was very whelming. Like I woke up, I checked Twitter, kind of guessed what some of the stuff was going on, looked at YouTube, and was kind of like, oh, that's kind of simplistic. You know, hop on the Discord, and it's like, yeah, it's like I'm not like upset or cut up about it, but I'm definitely like. That's not quite as hype as I thought it would have been, but also it's not terrible.
No, but I think we've spoken enough on the matter of the Strangefake collab initially. I do believe we have some notes for servants later.
Yes, I've acquired pre-wiki intel on the new servants.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that after the mailbag.
After the mailbag, and that's right, it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO mailbag. The segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. Exactly. We posted this one. Well, I think it was like yesterday. No, was it earlier today or was it yesterday? I don't remember.
No, it was yesterday. You posted it. You framed it as questions for tomorrow, but yeah.
Okay. Well, you cannot remember. But we got four lovely comments, and we'll get through them all. Starting at the top with Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, "Dear Shiva Ega Lucky and for Blizzard Omega." Cold themes, eh? No question this week. Everything I want to ask you about would be 14 related, and I have no doubt it'll be brought up later. Or previously. I probably should have stopped the manga and be like, Omega, no, save it! But I didn't. So instead, I'll just send good vibes and wish you well. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. I noticed there is no PS, do your PvP ladder, because like I said, I just finished mine today. And I know Omega's been done, so we're done. We're done with the PvP for right now. Most opportune time. I've actually been working on my cosmic exploration. I just got the interstellar Dommel. It's a fucking, it's a long neck camel with space armor. It's like, what is
yes,
this?
yeah, I remember seeing him in one of the patch notes or streams.
So I've been working on cosmic exploration. Well, we'll probably be talking about the keynote and stuff. We could talk a little bit about, like, probably the new patch. I am very excited. We're going to be having, basically, this is the quote-unquote last patch of the cycle. It's just going to be split into two parts. And we're getting a bit of everything from laying up. Thankfully, I was happy to realize that we would not be getting the new Cosmic Exploration Planet nor the new Occult Crescent Island until later, much later, if I remember correctly, which gives me still more time to catch up on all the things I've been trying to do.
Yeah, they're pretty spaced out. I was also happy to hear that because it kind of gives the timing budget. Like, I think Cosmic Expo will be... Oh, actually, are they both in a month?
No, excuse me. One is after the other. I believe Cosmic Exploration will be first and then followed by Occult Crescent later. I do not have the graphic on hand.
Yeah, so that gives us some time to stair step some stuff. Which is good also because obviously, like, when new patch launches, like, that'll be brand spanking new MSQ to jump into.
I have been informed there is a PS, and it says, don't forget to do your PvE point ladder. That isn't in game yet, and I'm still calling it a battle pass, because it is a battle pass.
I mean, it is basically a season pass.
It's not a monetized pass, but it is. Yeah. It is a group of daily and weekly activities that you use to grow a level and get rewards from. That's a battle pass.
And like, there is a reason why Yoshi P wants to not call it like a normal, like, battle pass, weekly rewards. He's like, no. This is not we're not going free to play. We're not doing that kind of mentality where you buy skips.
No. There's no money involved in it, but, like, I can't think of anything else to call it but a battle pass it. Like, I blame fucking, what would I call it? Gamer nomenclature? Just how we, like, refer to things. I don't think there is, like, a better word for what this system is than battle pass or season pass.
No, yeah, it is like you said, it's quite literally a battle pass type system. It's a whole thing where they, like, in the mock-up, they have, like, totems for exchange and, like, gear, and I think there was, like, an Orchestrion in there and shit. Like, it's got your activity level up rewards, but because people have feelings about, people saying battle passes, it's different.
No, I am excited for that part too, because they did talk about how, it'll be much easier to get things done. You will not be necessarily forced, like, to lock in every day to get things done. Up into including that you'll be able to, if you complete all of 1 week's, if you miss some of the previous weeks, you'll be able to go back and do that. No, I am excited for it. It's just, I've heard people have opinions online. I know I'm saying, like, that fucking, I'm basically saying that apples are red here, but it's just one of those things that people have opinions. I'm just like, I feel the need to fight back at this, but if I start arguing with people on the internet, nothing's gonna happen. So I'm gonna use my podcast to vent.
Yeah. No, like I said, usually we'll talk more about the keynote details, but usually I've seen people be positive, but there are definitely some, like, comments about it. I think generally the comment I saw that's correct is, like, the 14 dev team themselves and the people, like, they realize that of themselves and of their player base, like, a lot of them are, like, in their 30s now and, don't necessarily have infinite gamer time. So
yeah, no, I do believe our average gamer age is only increasing.
It's because the gamers don't die. But definitely, like, shifting to a weekly, like they talked about it, where, like, if you have a little bit of free time a day, you can do it once a day. But if you just want to block out the weekend, you can, get it done.
I'm definitely kind of a block out the weekend kind of guy. I'm very good at focusing on a task if I set my mind to it, but...
I mean, that's kind of why 14 streams have stayed consistent, because even when, there's nothing else to do, because it's just like, well, this is the afternoon I know I'm gonna sit down and play 14 for usually 3 hours. Maybe longer. Maybe sometimes a little less if we're having a bad time. Doing those treasure maps that lost last week, we got a little...
Oh, God, get you? Fuck.
Yeah, we went in. We got a little schmelty.
I lost a lot of spoons.
We were 14 was not necessarily people in the call, but 14 was taking our spoons, I think, by the end of it.
Like, give me your spoons.
Like,
no!
Just wacky shit happening.
Oh, wait, no, I did post it in our channel. Like I said, I haven't been talking about it much, but I did join another group of people who do Final Fantasy clears and stuff, and they have memes, and I just... Actually, hang on, I'll post it in Patreon chat, because I don't know if you guys go, hang on. But there's just some days I'm just like, yeah, no, that's me. That's Lucky right now. I'll post. Ow! God damn it!
Yes, I perceive.
Sorry, I laughed at that, and that bumped up my water, and it just smacked me in the fucking tooth. God.
No, your tooth.
Dude, no, I want to keep these. But yes, I think they said it's something like activity log or something. For that,
Yeah, I think that's how they're freezing. Like, it's all still in dev, but
yeah.
The way I kind of I saw it, I was like, when they actually described or showed some of the mock-ups, I was like, oh, so we're kind of combining daily roulette bonuses and your weekly challenge log into one thing where it's something you can just look at all at once.
Yeah, which I think is good. Like I said, we're doing a lot of streamlining for 8.0, and I'm for it. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
So, next up is the Tyrant King, who was 100% ready to fold for Hippolyta. It's Hippolyta, right?
Yes.
Hippolyta. But now can't hold for a story chapter in June. Question, hey guys, with Mahoyo taking place in November, do you think the movie released then? Also, with the first 3 episodes out, Also, with the first 3 episodes out now for most anime, how are you liking this core? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way. Wah. And hope you have a great evening. Honestly, because fucking UFO Table is fucking slammed with so many projects, I have no idea when anything's coming out. I have no predictions either. We're waiting for the second movie in the Demon Slayer series. We got the Mahoyo movie. I believe they're working on a couple other smaller projects as well. And they do a lot of work on that stuff. They do they love showing little scene composition clips on their Twitter and whatnot, and it's fucking crazy. So personally, no, I have no prediction. I know people love to predict. They like to guess and stuff. I try to get in that sometimes too, but for this thing in particular, I am not guessing. I'm just be like, it happens when it happens, because otherwise I'm gonna be constantly thinking about it. I'm like, no, not gonna do it. Do you have any insight on the Mahoyo movie Omega that you'd like to share?
No, that's such sight is beyond me.
Very well then. Then we shall move on to things that are in the present, rather. And speaking of anime this core, yes, there's actually several anime that I would recommend. Some which have been more surprising than the other. To the surprise of nobody, Otagal, Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku, is, top of my list. I fucking love the manga and I love the anime. It is cute, well animated, and well voiced. I hardly recommend it. Along with that, The Barbarian's Bride, also known as Warrior Princess and Barbarian King, or is it Barbarian King and Warrior Princess? I can't remember. It has it has Barbarian King, Warrior Princess in it.
It has also the phrase Barbarians, Warriors, Kings, and Princesses.
Yes. I also really like that one. Like I said, it's probably not as good as Otagal. I do believe the animation is lacking in some areas, but it has very excellent world building and some philosophical thinkings. And I am curious to see if they keep the original manga's sensuality, I would call it, in the anime. Like I said, while nothing is ever quite sexual or lewd, many parts of the manga does have a lot of sensuality, which I really did like. So I'm excited to see if we get that in the anime. Things other than those two, though, there's actually quite a few. I actually found myself quite surprised by Kusunoki's Garden of the Gods. The premise of this one is basically a man moves to the countryside to a haunted mansion, but has discovered that he has the ability to purify evil things quite easily. Also, he can only see the good things from the other side, so he quickly becomes friends with a lot of deities and spirits who all like to hang out in his backyard because it is very spiritually pure. Like I said, it's very comfy, almost very slice of life. There is some action bits in there which builds upon things, but it's very nice. It's very comfy. Many cute creatures. Apparently it was based off a light novel, and I'm actually looking into getting it when I have some additional funds, so I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
So I just figured this one out today, actually, and I was like, holy shit, how did I miss this? But Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Created by Arakawa, who made, Full Metal Alchemist. I literally looked at the fucking characters and I was like, wait a minute. I know those faces. And do that. And it's about, a set of twins, a brother and sister, one, who can apparently control something called daemons, which seem to be otherworldly spirits. There's a lot happening there, and I don't think I can fully explain it without giving it away. So it's just one of those things I'm just gonna be like, you gotta watch it, buddy. It's made by the guy who made Full Metal Alchemist. What more do you need?
Oh, that's that one. Yes. Now that you say that, I remember the art style.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Like I said, we're on the second season of Astoria, Wand and Sword. Written by the originally written by the person who wrote Don Machi, How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. A severely misleading title, by the way. Jesus. I'll never forgive Don Machi. Like I said, we're into season 2, and the animation continues to be amazing. Like I said, I've read the manga, so I know of events to come, and I am very excited to see how they play out. Another one that I picked up randomly, but I actually do quite like is Snowball Earth. Basically, it's a kind of a mecha shonen series about a young boy with crippling social anxiety who befriends a robot, and together they fight quote unquote kaiju. They decide to take a mission into space to deal with the source of kaiju, but after a tragic accident, Yukio, it's not Yukio. I forgot the main character's name again already. The main character has to return to Earth alone, only to find that it's turned into a giant snowball. Like I said, it's very shonen. It just scratches a particular itch of mine. I don't know what it is, but it's very good. More on the romance side. I think I've mentioned this one before, but I'll mention it again. An observation log of my fiance who calls herself a villainess. So we are awash in basically villainess, reincarnated as a villainess stories. They have been, oh god, like, I don't want to say all my destruction flags, all my flags lead to destruction with Bakurina, but that is the first one that I read and kind of never looked back with, villainous.
I think that was kind of the trendsetter, I want to say, because like even that is like referencing earlier works.
No, it's like Sword Art Online for isekai. No, there's plenty of fucking isekai novels before that, but Sword Art Online was the one that caught everyone's attention. Bakurina being like
definitely like codified, like SAO and Destruction Flag, like both of those like codified ideas that other shows keep replicating.
I don't know which one Kaiju Girl is. I know the one you're talking about, but I'm not entirely sure. But we have reached a point, and like we have become so saturated them that we have been getting variations on said formula, and this is one of them. An observation log of my fiance's concept of villains is not told from the villainess's perspective, but instead the princess perspective. Basically, an outsider looking in to this, so he basically gets to see all her wacky, wild behavior and just go, "My girl, you're being a little weird, but because it's amusing, I'm not gonna say anything." Like I said, it's very cute, and it is very nice. That also does remind me, I do believe that the one within the villainess has gotten anime adaptation conversion. I'm super excited for that one. That one's a great one because that's a villainous story where the main character gets reincarnated as a villainess, but then the villainess comes back after a tragic incident with the guns, like, and decides and swears to get revenge on the reincarnator's behalf because she was just that good a person. So good. Oh, I can't wait. But let's see here. So the observation log of my fiance is actually very sweet, very cute, and actually quite funny. So I would recommend that as well. Marimashita Iruma-kun is on season 4. Guys, Iruma-kun and its freaking spin-off, the Mafia AU, is like one of the highest rated, like it's like some of the highest rated stuff on freaking Manga Deck. It's just goddamn good. Watch it. It seems like it's a Saturday morning show, but it is surprisingly filled with emotion. Let's see here. I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class. This has a very basic premise, but it's, just because it's basic doesn't mean it's not bad. It's just, a loner type makes friends with a beautiful girl, and their relationship grows from that. That's it. It has its ups and downs and stuff, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. She is very shark themed, yes. She's quirky. There are more that I'm planning to watch that I haven't yet started yet. Mistress Kainen is devilishly easy. I know that one from the manga. Basically, a guy asks out a girl, but it turns out that she's a devil and she's gonna, suck out his soul. But he's all like, "That sounds amazing, please." And she's just like, "What?" It's basically a school life, like a semi-erotic comedy, which, like I said, I love the manga. I am gonna give the anime a try at some point. I was going to try out the Classroom of the Black Witch and the Cat, but it has a girl kissing a cat butthole. So I'm just like, guys, I don't know if that's for me. I don't know.
The gag has gone too far.
A little bit.
That sounds like a classic, like, anime gag that I'm sure people thought was uproarious in Japan, but it's definitely like, don't know about that one. It's like the old school, Naruto Kancho joke. Like, I don't think anybody in America actually finds the concept of Kancho very funny, but it was once a real prank that children do in Japan, and I'm just like,
Let's see here. What else am I watching right now? Killed Again, Mr. Detective is something that's interesting. Again, we have, I don't know what it is about weird-ass detective stories, but basically this one is about a teenage detective who has the ability to come back to life when dead. And so basically every arc starts with him being killed by the murderer.
It's a pretty,
and some
pretty
weird
cute premise.
Come on. Basically every time, we've only gone through 2 cases so far, but both times he got killed because either he saw something and the murderer needs to remove him, or the murderer mistook him for someone else. It's interesting. Like I said, a lot of these characters in here actually seem more larger than life. Like, I feel like there is this trend in Japan to just attach detectives and just have fucking crazy ass characters associated with them. Like, I'm not entirely sure where this came from, but I've seen it multiple times.
Where did this is as an aside, but as a separate conversation that is interesting, and we may, people in the comments can help us out too. But that's kind of a discussion we were having earlier watching Blade Runner for movie night. But it's always interesting to see where ideas and aesthetics or genres come from. Like, while the original Blade Runner is technically almost like a proto-cyberpunk, it's very clearly setting the foundations for cyberpunk aesthetics, but also is only loosely about stuff you normally associate with cyberpunks.
Yeah.
It feels like it much more, if it's about anything, it's about just the ephemerality of life, and maybe also that cops suck.
Mm-hmm.
There is a giant corporation involved, but it's such a background detail,
Yeah.
And there's basically there's no cyberspace, no cybernetics. It's all genetic engineering. Though they do have video phone booths, but that was 1982 when the movie came out, and that really set aesthetics along with the manga for Akira. So you can tell that a lot of people saw Blade Runner and were like, yes, this is what the future will look like. I know Japan really does like detective stories. They have a whole thing about it. I mean, that's for our own, just look at the several detective events that have happened in FGO.
Yeah.
But I don't know who done it, as it were. Is it just Sherlock Holmes?
It might be, but when I think about it, there's so many detective shows that are just, oh god.
In a sense, it's probably Detective Conan, but where did Detective Conan get its ideas from?
Well, that's classic. I wouldn't put Stray Dogs. So many shows about investigation have such eccentric and wild characters in here that even if you took out all the detective angles on it, you would still have a pretty entertaining show. It's I could probably pull up a list and just go down a fucking line. Actually,
it's definitely an oddball one that I'm I don't know how and why it is quite like that. Let's see. Oh, Great Detective Conan is long running, but it's also not that old. It's been since 1994. But no, I absolutely know what you mean. What was that one show probably a million years ago? We talked about it for when we did Anime Power Hour. It was some kind of play on Tonkatsu Ramen or something. But that was another one that was you got it? You remember?
Yeah, it's Tonkatsu's Ramen, because that was the name of their fucking baseball team.
Right, yeah. That was another one that was semi-serial and was about investigating, but was also just about weird characters existing in the space. And occasionally we solve crimes.
Yeah. It's fucking Sherlock and Kabukicho, which was, Sherlock Holmes, but he did fucking he lived in, Kabukicho and did freaking right, is it Rigo? Fuck, I can't remember the craft now.
Rakugo.
Can't remember it. Yes.
Took me a second. Remember all my consonants. I'm fine saying it's Sherlock Holmes' fault, but there's definitely a process, right?
Yeah.
For instance, a lot of people in the West, our impression of Sherlock Holmes is specifically related to very specific, film interpretations, like the Basil Rathbone films and stuff like that. So I'm sure that there's something over there that is influential, and people don't always get it. I know that that's like that's one of the things that, for instance, talking about FGO, but like I don't think people pay it any mind these days, but as usual, people would often back in the day ask like what's the reasoning for certain characters to be gender flipped. And I know some people ask that about Swan Song, but like that's been pretty clear in notes. That's a reference to specific adaptations that happened in Japan where they had Swan Song played by a female actress. Like that's not that uncommon, and there was at least one famous adaptation of Journey to the West that like FGO was probably pulling from that is a reference to.
Right. But with that, I do think that oh wait, no, I do have like let's see here. So Killed Again, Mr. Detective, I don't know if I would call it good, but it's amusing, which, you know, is its own fun. Last on my current list, like I said, I'm still picking up things here and there, is Always a Catch, which is a medieval-based romance between a quirky but good-natured girl who is a martial arts genius and the royal family who becomes quickly smitten with her for her adorable and quirky ways. Like, I have to shrug as I explain that one because that's really all there is all to it. It does have a very memorable first episode, so I would, like I said, we've talked about this. I know that like I hear a lot of other people talking about it. Give it 3 episodes. If you like it, keep going. If you don't, you know, move on. Just don't go to Twitter and being like, "Oh my god, this is the most horrible thing ever. Why do people make this?" There are some animes that are like that. I've been trying to think of the anime that made me go, "What the fuck is this?" It was the one that was so bad with the horrible out-of-place CG and,
what was it? Is that X-Arm?
Yeah, I think it was like X-Arm or something.
I think that was one of the CG ones.
Yeah, no.
It's shocking, I know. And usually these days, I think the anime industry is in such a place that you don't often get to print. You know, there are some that aren't like that. Jokes about One Frame Man happened with previous... because the follow-up seasons to One Punch Man did not have as much money poured into them as the first anime season of One Punch Man did, which I know is very odd to think about. But yeah, there are occasionally shows that get made where you watch a first episode and you just go, "What's going on here?" But usually the reason why people say to give it a few episodes is, if you think about it, most anime's still on that 22 minutes, you know, with commercials grind, right? Mm-hmm. So like, you're not actually getting that much done in one episode. Some anime are still pretty good that they will hook you in on one episode, or maybe 2. Like, they'll do an obvious, like, 1-2 punch. But, I don't know. It's just one of those things about symmetry. Most anime are 12 or 13 episode cores these days. And, you know, you're going to be waiting a while. So, 3 episodes is right around the 25% mark. Usually the show will have done something to give you its appeal. And if you don't, then you're like, I'm not into this.
No. Okay. But I think that is all for animes. Now, if I find out anything else later and someone asks, you know, I'll get it. Yeah. God, X-Arms. Fuck. Oh, wow. It has a 1.8 on IMDb. Wow.
We're not happy.
Like I said, I remember I watched like 2 episodes of this and was just like, I can't. Literally can't. It makes me think of All You Need Is a Sister, which has a very cursed opening scene, but after you get past that, it is actually surprisingly good and amazing. It's like,
there are, I can't name them like off rip, but there's a few anime that are like that, where like the first episode dropped and it's a real rug puller for some people, but then like actually the rest of the show is like, I don't want to say completely different, but it's like much better constructed that you're just like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. No, I should say that on the A Sister's All You Need one is that rug pull was like intentional. It was supposed to be a fucking a switcheroo on you, which was kind of the point. But enough on that. Let's move on. This next one comes from Lord of Darkness, who says, "Dear Lucky Omega, how do you feel about the new 5-star servant from Strangefake? Personally, I felt like it should have been a 4-star. Sending good vibes and wishing you both well." Wah. No, I thought they were going to be a 5-star caster from the fucking start. They're popular, they're unhinged, they're twins, and they are unique. No, I knew that. Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to be a 5-star. Do you know how many times fucking? Oh, sorry.
We talked about this a lot. I think earlier I said I could have imagined Francesca alone, like as a welfare 4, but definitely like it's both of them. I'm like, Well, not only does that aesthetically track, like we talked about, 2 sets of battle lines and sprites, etc. But, like, no, if you're going to the extra effort to double up, it's like, no, that fits the 5 slot.
And like I said, they put in the animation work, Jesus. So, no. Like I said, I think we've said enough on Strangefake. I will not rehash what we have already said. So,
we'll come back to the Prolates in a little bit.
Yeah. Last but not least, we got all the way to Shadowbringer for free. Is so much content. It really is. To clarify, Yoshi P has confirmed that we will be moving up to Shadowbringers for the free trial, which is pretty damn good.
You go all the way to level 80. You can now be Viera and Hrothgar.
Yeah.
And Shadowbringers is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But they say, howdy, Lucky and Omega. Hope y'all are having a good week. Though, based on the opening of the FanFest, I think all 14s are eating good. Well, I think many are eating good. I think some are looking at the play and going, what is this? I didn't order this. Lucky is very jaded about people on the internet, guys. Question. Considering right now we are going through a returning event in FGO, I have to ask, do you reread the event stories, skim through them, or just skip them? Me, it depends. Most of the time, if we're doing a rerun, I'll reread it just because it's fun. Sometimes I will just get a niggle and I'll just go like reread a particular scene that made me feel. Fucking being in the LB6, being in the Abyssal Worm, and fucking Oberon just being all like, you're gonna die and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you want to punch me, you can. You're like, I fucking will. And Oberon's just like, whoa, man, calm down. And you're like, I will not be calm. And you fucking call Castoria, Artoria Avalon to you, and you're just like, what? Ugh. I love it so much every time.
LB6 is real good.
It's real good. So sometimes I go around and reread stuff like that, like the End to Time Temple Solomon is something I visit fairly often. I have been meaning to actually sit down and go through all of like LB6 and LB7 again, just because they're real good, guys. They're real good. But I haven't necessarily had the chance, mostly because I have to sit on a phone or my computer and tap a screen to read instead of reading like a whole last fucking page of text and then turning a page.
Yeah.
Like I said, Lucky likes reading or audiobooks, so tapping, like, I'm not, revisiting visual novel style is not necessarily my thing.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
Because you got to go through a lot of the text. Usually for event reruns, and I mean, it's been a long-ass time since there's been one, so it's hard for me to say exactly what the fuck I'd do. But for this one, I'm, like, skimming. It's like, we see a scene, and I'm just like, okay, this is just going to be some gags. I know what's happening here. We'll rapidly click through. But then other times, obviously, we slow it down because then you get to be like, hey, there's Stiggy. He's going to do Stiggy stuff. Love that guy. That kind of stuff. But definitely, like, sometimes, what's the phrase? Like, jokes don't hit the same way twice, Yeah,
you can only read something for the first time once.
Yeah, so, like, there are definitely points where, like, even if I'm clicking through the visual novel at, like, the normal rate, I'm not, like, reading it as in-depth as I was the first time. So, like I said, we skim through. But there are definitely parts where I'm like, I'll go down a rabbit hole, and I'll be like, yeah, I should reread some of that stuff. LB7's been on my list. I've been thinking about it. It's wacky wild time. But at the same time, I'm also, like, with this event, I'm like, but I don't want to miss any Stiggy. He's my little guy.
I know I posted this in games. I'm going to post this for patron chat as well, just because I am very interested in this. Usually I'm not interested in these kind of games, but there's something about oops, nope, that is the wrong one. I'll leave it there. It's not what I meant to post, though.
Yeah, I think that's the parent to the thing you linked.
Yeah, that's fine. But today they've a team has announced Pukigada's Shock Trick, which seems to be a Russian roulette game where you basically have bet your soul against a demon who really, really loves you and wants to kill you, so you can be hers forever. So you basically have to outdrink her. Let me put in the thing. Like I said, I like this. I like the design. I like the aesthetic, and I like the music as well. So I'm like, shit, I'm interested in this. Normally, Lucky is not usually Lucky words, you fool. Usually, Lucky's not into suffering simulators, and there is definitely a trend of suffering simulators going on in the world. I've seen so many. It's like, I think it's Schadenfreude. I honestly think it's Schadenfreude. People get to control a predator who has like who is toxic or something around there, and just like, man, I'm glad I'm not that person or something. Ugh.
And I also think that humans have what I like to call the built different reflex. nah, I'd win reflex, you know? Like,
yeah.
Lots of people see a situation like, you may remember seeing this indie game a while ago, Lucky, Buckshot Roulette, right?
Yeah.
Which is like Russian roulette, but with a shotgun simulator. And like, people look at that and go, I'll simply count the bullets and I'll do it right. And you can actually, like, you can optimize it. But some people are not that clever and they just do it because they think they will and they get, blasted. Like,
no,
definitely games that are like that where you think you're just simply built different.
No. But like I said, I see this game and I'm just like, oh, this looks so unhinged. And I don't know. I think I just have a thing for like pink hair unhinged girls, man. I don't know what it is.
I think, listen, this is how video games work, is like, ultimately, depending on how this works, this may not be that different from a Buckshot Roulette, but they are approaching it in a very different aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
With the shot roulette and the anime style, obviously, and stuff like that. It's always cool to see little games. There's a few different things that I'm following out there.
I don't know, like, I know a lot of people talk shit about Twitter and the algorithm and stuff, but it's actually been doing very good for me personally. Things that
you got to be careful, but I think the Twitter algorithm is actually pretty good if you curate it right.
No, yeah, no, mine's curated, and you hear people talk about things. You click one thing in the algorithm, something you get fun things. Like, no, but usually the things I click on, I'm interested in. I usually don't follow things like politics or sports and whatnot, and while that does happen into what's happening, it's not in the, the Grok-generated news feeds. Like, God, I know we talk shit about AI, but I do like it when Grok just gives me a tiny summary of what's going on at the top, so I don't have to go digging through fucking, 80 posts trying to get an idea of what the fuck, this fucking trend's about.
Yeah, you gotta double check him sometimes, because he'll, squish some stuff together.
Yeah.
Like, I think all three of my today's news are Final Fantasy XIV related.
Yeah.
I think, yesterday, one of them was talking about the life-size Emmett Selk and said it was in Japan, and I'm actually pretty sure it was at FanFest in Anaheim.
No, it is in Japan. I remember because Audrey, she was talking about how she couldn't make it to the Anaheim FanFest, but she would be able to make it to the life-size Emmett Selk.
Okay, so it was a pop-up thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's pretty straightforward, at least. I do know there are other times, though, when, the summary is a little smudged, but it's definitely, if you take it as just a summary and not quote-unquote news, them calling it today's news is trying to make it sound more important than it is. But if it's, a summary of stuff you might be interested in, it's yeah, that's probably right. And I will say, I definitely think the news feed is better than the happening, trending feed. That's much more general and,
yeah.
Very often I, do not give a shit about that what's happening window these days.
Nah, today's news, I think today's news is pretty good. But that's what I do in following. I stay in my following, and I just look at today's news, and I'm like, nah, that's all I need, fam. But sorry, I changed it there because Lucky once again saw a game that he found interesting.
Yeah.
Where were we? Oh.
Wrapping up this one? Yeah, I think we answered the question. We're talking about, doing a rerun event.
Do
you reread or do you skip?
All right. So with that, that is it for this week's mailbag. Thank you very much for everyone who sent one in, and I hope to see more next week.
So choose. I mean, depending on the date, we might know if there's a second banner or not. We'll see more about people coming out. But that did manage to take us with mailbag and tangents to just under 1 hour.
Yay.
Which, considering the low level of news, is pretty good. Obviously, the edit will scooch some of that. But, sorry. That means that it is time to go to new servant deets, because we do have 2 new servants, and we do have their deets. Or most of them, anyway. I could not get a confirmation of Prolati's passives, but we'll see what's up. Maybe someone in the Patreon chat will help me out, while I'm talking. But, since we did say we get to them, let us talk about the Prolatis, because yes, it is one Prolati who is 2 Prolati. 1 Prolati, 2 Prolati, 3 Prolati, 4. With, double ascension arts, and it is completely flexible. Depending on what ascension you in is completely different from the gender you're using, and so on and so forth. So, it's definitely a lot of effort put into the servant. Again, talking about, the level of output for a 5-star. There's, a lot. And not really up to date with who's got where the max HP and stuff is, but I don't know. I add that stuff because it's interesting, but I don't know how important it is these days in FGO. You guys let me know if you care about that kind of stuff as much. I feel like I can tell that Pralati was designed to come out like a year ago because they're an SSR caster with 3 arts cards. So we're back on that steez. But we will be starting with skill number 1 because they are basically a 2-in-1 servant. So the first skill is an illusion type skill, which gives the whole party 1 turn of invul, gives the enemies, all enemies 20-30% crit down and fear for 3 turns. And then, as an option, you can switch your Francis flavor. So you get to pick using the invul if you are Francois or Francesca. Now, since then, skills 2 and 3 are doubled. So, as Francois, skill number 2 is a 20-30% team battery, and a 20-30% arts up for self for 3 turns. Pretty straightforward. For Francesca, it's a 50-80% battery just for self, and the same arts up on self. So charge self NP lot or charge ally NP less. Pretty normal. Skill 3 is 20-30% up of bonus damage versus lawful, and arts up for the team, same values. For Francesca, or that's for Francois. For Francesca, this is bonus damage versus chaotic, and NP damage up for the team. So, different sorts of buffs. Also, this is because they have 2 separate NPs, and as far as I know, Francois' NP, which is Grand Illusion, is non-damaging, whereas Francesca's is damaging.
If I understand, well, actually, I'll let you keep speaking. Look, you will be silent!
Yeah. Because that is next. But, as far as I can tell, Francois doesn't deal direct damage, but it hits all enemies with debuff res down, curse, confusion, buff success down for 3 turns. The overcharge is arch resistance down. So, give everybody nasty, nasty buffs. Francesca is AoE arts, and hers does damage which is bonus multipled if they have mental debuffs, which confusion is a mental debuff. Also, fear is. It also, funnily enough, while it does do damage to enemies, it is also a supporter because, it gives enemies DNP, and sorry, the way this is phrased is a little tough. It's phrased as like NP strength resistance down. It's basically the NPC, the enemy side of NP strength up. They take increased damage from NP, but also Francesca cleanses all allies of debuffs and gives them a 1-time 3 turns of debuff immune and buff removal resist. So, damages enemies, but also helps allies, whereas Francois is more of a general, big debilitation set up, but, still gives you damage output. And depending on where you set the skills, you might, use Francois, switch to Francesca, then use Francesca, because she's got a big battery, that kind of thing. I know some people have been saying, like, oh, I don't know if Pralati's making waves, and it's like, I truly don't know either with, like, where people's headspace are at with, like, what you need for FGO farming, but having a servant who actually has basically 5 skills instead of 3, and has 2 NPs instead of 1 is probably useful.
Probably.
I will say, I would definitely have a concern that, like, maybe the mental debuffs don't matter as much in, like, story fights. Like, a lot of bosses tend to be immune to those. But for AoE farming, you can probably set it up pretty easily. And definitely I like the idea of cleanses allies of all debuffs, gives them 1 time of debuff immune and buff removal resist.
Yeah!
You pair that with your one turn team-wide invul, and that's basically just like, yeah, you're definitely not getting damaged. Like, definitely see some potential to do some funny damage dealing stuff, and also to do some team support stuff. And I think what's very interesting is that the third skill is a team-wide? Yeah, it's a team-wide damage up. So you can kind of configure it to your needs. Francois does the lawful up, and then Francesca does chaotic up. I think you can probably, mix and match that to your needs based on what sort of enemies you're fighting. And in case you can't tell from some of my, more recent Fanservant Friday designs, servants who get to swap stuff around is a really cool idea that I like, so depending on how this turns out, I would not probably be going ham on this banner, but we'll see what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
So then talking about the welfare, Hippolyta. Pretty straightforward. As a welfare writer, you should assume you're going to get NP5. Funnily enough, for a writer, she has a gorilla deck. I think it runs in the family. 3 Buster cards. Her kit's much more straightforward, so we can go straight to the NP. Her NP is single target Buster. It applies ignore defense first for 1 turn. Deals bonus damage to chaotic enemies. Gives the whole party increased crit damage and crit resistance for 3 turns, which I didn't see a stat listed, so I don't know if it's flat or if it scales with NP level. Because her overcharge, I believe, is the damage versus chaotic scales up. Her first skill is Charisma Adjacent, so it's 10 to 20% attack up for everybody, 20% crit up for female allies. This is basically the female version of some of those Summers who have a version that does this for males. And then also gives herself 2 hits, 3 turns of evade, and gives child servants 2 hits, 3 turns of evade. So the Amazon does better with ladies and, protects women and children. I'm also pretty sure that she herself counts as her own female ally, so she gets the crit up as well. This is important for team comping. Second skill is also pretty straightforward, just gives a 10 to 20% buster up for 3 turns, generates 5 stars when you hit an enemy with a buster card, which is good because she has 3 of those, and also gives you 10 to 20 stars right away. Final skill is probably what you would be expecting for this sort of servant, a 10 to 20% NP strength up, for which I believe is reported to me as 3 turns, which is very interesting on a buster servant, is a 20 to 30% battery, and also 10 to 20 stars per turn for 3 turns. Passives are Riding for that 1 quick card hit pretty good, Magic Resistance pretty good, and Divinity for extra damage. Very self-contained package. She basically gives herself all the flavors of buffs. She has bonus trait damage on her NP, and she gives herself attack up, crit up, NP damage up, and card up. So she should hit very hard on enemies, and obviously being a welfare, getting that free NP5, that means you're going to be pretty locked in on those numbers. And also does have some team support. Very interesting stuff to do, female crit up, but, for child tagged servants, giving you 2 hits, 3 turns of evade is pretty good. Obviously giving just herself a hard defense is pretty good for servants like this. But also, while riders do have a lot of star weight, she doesn't necessarily, she does not have a star weight up on herself, so she can generate stars for other people to use, and that's quite a lot of stars. 20 stars right away if you're max level, 20 stars per turn for 3 turns, generate 5 stars every time you use a buster card. It's pretty good stuff. And I think it's interesting that her NP is team-wide, crit up, but also team-wide crit resistance for 3 turns. That's cute. To amplify both critical hits, as far as I understand. So, yeah, honestly, mechanics-wise, I think both of these servants are designed pretty good. They will definitely have some utility depending. I think I've already seen some people they're thinking about switching their Grand Rider to Hippolyta. Yeah, Fragment of 2030, if you've still got it. If you have an MLB, that'll be basically guaranteed crits. So yeah, very stonks. And we will keep our ears out for more. Sorry, we got started a little bit later. Not a lot later, but a little bit later.
A little bit.
And honestly, it's been a little bit of a yawny day. I made sure to, be up, Adam, and conscious Friday for the FanFest.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely little yawny pants. But since that is the end of Chaldea Free Talk, that is a good transition to probably talk about the Final Fantasy XIV FanFest and the big, long keynote speech that Yoshi P gave.
It was long. It was over 2 hours. Jesus.
Yes. Yeah, Blade Runner was a very dark movie. Probably did not give me bright wake-up flashes.
Oh, it probably did not.
But, yes, so, FanFest Anaheim is technically still ongoing. It's day 2 right now. Or was day 2. They probably closed up shop, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But we kicked off day 1 with the big keynote speech, which started off very strong with straight up, right away, our first trailer for our next expansion, Evercold.
I thought it'd be I think I said Everfrost as one of mine, so I'll take that.
Yes. If you guessed it would be cold themed, you win a Cupid doll.
Woo!
And some people also correctly guessed ever as the verb or the adjective. Good job, gang.
Good job.
Yes, EC, Evercold. Honestly, for a low level, an early level, I should say, like teaser trailer, pretty strong.
I believe Ark said this is actually our longest teaser trailer that we've had so far. So he's curious about how the full length one is going to be.
That'll be interesting. So I remember watching because Dawntrail was the first xpac I was there for the hype cycle for. So it was interesting to see them go from the early teaser to the full trailer because they do really hide some stuff with some edits and cuts.
Oh yes, no. For those not in the know, Final Fantasy trailers are first teasers, and then they slowly add the full trailer after the time, with the full trailer being at the FanFest. This is how it was with mobile. I think it goes all the way back to Shadowbringers, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember, but they did it for. I know they did it for Endwalker. They did it for Dawn Trail, and they're doing it for Evercold. So, like I said, the fact that it's still pretty lengthy, even being trimmed down, is like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff happening here.
Yes. So there are some very interesting visuals in the trailer. Some of which are pure speculation still, and some of which are confirmed by later stuff, which is that we're going to another shard. We're going to the 4th, where it's supposed to be pretty frosty. Now, when they showed concept art later, Yoshi P was just like, yes, frosty, cold. But I would like to remind you, this is the same guy who, through the Dawn Trail hype cycle, was like, summer vacation? Summer vacation. So, I think it will actually be cold.
Mm-hmm.
But, the trailer talks about, fleeing the icy surface to the sky, so we're going to do some more Heavensward Sky Island stuff. Ooh, that's significant. Dawn Trail having a very compact teaser, and then EC has a pretty long teaser. I can see why Shadowbringers was previously the longest, because that one is like... Shadowbringers trailers are very, moody, very tone-setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand why that one was longer. But yeah, so we're going back to the 4th. It's going to be Frosty-themed. They showed a lot of art style elements in the concept art of buildings and structures and areas that are very Nordic-themed, but also I think there were some other interesting architecture styles as well. I think one of the things that I thought was interesting about the trailer itself is that there's quite a few aura in it.
Yes, saw several.
At least one, hooded maiden looking important, one old guy looking cool, little aura child, stuff like that. So, not unheard of, because, there were aura NPCs in, Shadowbringers, but it's definitely nice to see, handfuls of them in the front and center. Especially because, actually, now that I think about it, aura weren't native to Tuliyola, were they? Or Tural?
I do not believe so, no.
Yeah, I don't remember them amongst the cultures. We got some different vibes for some guys, but yeah. They showed some, great big icy beasts roaming the land, some giant trees, some big crystals, all the stuff you'd expect from Final Fantasy. They did show the Heavensward boys back together.
I've heard many people calling this Heavenswards too.
Yeah, I think obviously the general impression, especially I think with being overly maligned, is that Dawn Trail is Stormblood 2, which structurally I understand. I kind of agree with the concept. One, that it's overhated, and two, that it is the xpac that has a stark setting shift roughly 50% of the way through. Maybe more like 60% actually. I'm not sure what the exact level is. What level is Vanguard actually? Is that 7 on the 7s or the 5s?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. I think Vanguard is the last dungeon. I think Vanguard is 97? Because I mean the final dungeon to be the level 100 one, because we usually go every 2.
It is the 7, yeah. So probably the plot twist is 60% of the way through. Because there's stuff leading up before you actually do Vanguard. But yeah, people... I feel like with the going to another reflection, a lot of people are like, oh, Shadowbringers 2, but it's like, haha, you fool. It's actually also Heavensward 2. Because there's Sky Islands, and there's Estinian, there's Alphino. Estinian does a drop kick.
Yeah, I'm about to say Estinian does a drop kick. I've seen so many people clip that, and
it's a great drop kick. Also, shout out to Estinian, who, doesn't... Usually Estinian looks pretty cool in trailers. He does some pretty cool shit. Usually with his spear, he's just like, nah, I'm good. Drop kick.
That's so great.
I think it's very interesting that in the trailer, Meteor's job seems to be Reaper.
Oh no, I guarantee you, he's probably gonna have probably a job change in there as well. That's probably the thing. Remember, originally in the Dawn trailer, the original Dawn trailer, you don't actually see Meteor fighting as Viper until I think the second one. They actually
because that was I believe that was the trailer that was when they revealed Viper as a job.
Yeah, they even did things like edit out his second sword from the trailer and stuff too. So you do not know exactly exactly, but they all Chris did part. We are meeting Zero in the 7.5 trailer.
Oh, I'm hoping even Zero's... Let's add Zero to the team permanently, gang.
Oh no, I would love that, but
I
think that'd be
also,
great.
she's a paladin now. We need another tank in the Scions.
Well, we're gonna get more about that fucking Tuesday, but
Yeah.
like I said, like they're not shy about having the Warrior of Light sometimes be multiple jobs.
I mean, hell, talking about like that is the whole Shadowbringer's gimmick, is you just fucking speed run all your previous jobs.
It's
So,
like
yeah.
but
That said,
oh God, what was it?
also the 14 trailers and the way the 14s work, we're not afraid to have other characters be the iconic jobs either, because, like, in case y'all forgot, which you probably didn't forget, but, like, the Reaper in Endwalker is the enemy. It's Xenos, so.
Yeah, no, and the dancer was shown by just a unnamed Vieira, and Thancred was the gunbreaker for Shadowbringers.
It's implied because she used chakrams that's Lina, but she never dresses in the dancer outfit in Sheb. So, I'm kind of curious to see if any of the Scions will get another job change, or what will be going on there.
I don't know. Because Yoshi P has done the thing that he does with every FanFest, is he wears a particular shirt, which is a hint, and this one is fairly blatant. It showed, I can never remember his name because it's a Garlean-ass, Rogadan-ass name.
Ritalin? Not literally Ritalin. Ristalin? Cape Westwind Extreme! You know him.
You know him. And his weapons were, actually, I looked this up, they are very specifically called gun shields. They are called gun shields. And Yoshi Pid, while he did not reveal the classes, did reveal that we are getting a tank class, and we are getting a ranged DPS class, which has everyone said, go fucking finally.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of cottoned on that would be the... We were reasonably certain that would be the spread.
Yes. Especially with a tank. Well, we'll talk about the tank thing in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, so... we're fairly certain that we're gonna have something like fucking Shield Knight or Heavy Knight or something like that.
And Yoshi P did specifically say that the jobs would be 14 original. Now,
yes,
keep in mind, they said that about Viper, but Viper also has references to 9, so, like, there will probably be references in these jobs, but their design is supposed to be more specific to 14.
Give me Blitzballer for the ranged DPS. Give it.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that's interesting. Despite it being so cold themed, I'll say this two ways. Unlike Dawn Trail, like, once they started showing off some of their ideas and talking about, like, Solution 9 and stuff, like, I think people kind of cottoned on that there were going to be some heavy 9 references in Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
Evercold seems to be borrowing from a couple of different things. The leaving the surface to live in the sky, possibly around giant crystals, is very 13.
Mm-hmm.
But 13 is also kind of 7-ish, so it's kind of, techno-fantasy. But, like, you make your joke about Blitzball, or somebody in chat pointed out, the big giants look kind of like Sin. Like, the aesthetics of some of the areas look like some of the areas in 10. So, we could also be, like, referencing some 10 things.
I don't know. But no, yes, a lot of the trailer and a lot of the screenshots they showed later definitely has a Northern European / Nordic vibes. I did want to slap King when he was just like, oh, you mean Nordic? I'm like, no, there's more than just the fucking Norse up in Northern European, you fool.
That's what I said. I'm like, no, yeah. I definitely know that Nordic is the word, but it's not just Nordic. Also, I think there are, like, Celtic and lower down designs, and there are also some other ideas that are not necessarily Nordic. There are some very like the snake carvings, very, very Nordic longship. The way those specific roofs are designed, that is very like Icelandic and other Nordic areas, but they're not just that, because they're borrowing a bunch of different stuff. Yoshi P kept making jokes showing in the concept art, but there's going to be at least one zone where there's just going to be, like, active lava pits on that sky island. And, like, that's... I mean, you could make references with Iceland because Iceland is fairly volcanically active, but the architecture and stylings did not look very, like, Icelandic specifically. That seemed very its own thing, honestly.
No. But, no, we are getting a lot of our initial screenshots and flavors, and things are looking very good. I definitely called out one of the towns, which I'm tentatively calling Alfheim right now, because, no dark jokes aside, we do seem to be having a very Norse kind of story. like I might be like reading into it, but there was a mural of like a giant tree in the beginning, like so maybe everyone's living like at the top of this giant tree, so it might be a world tree. Giant snakes. We have what seems to be frost giants, Jotun, and here I think at several points.
I Twitter fact pilled me on this, but he's not in the trailer, but we do now have a squirrel.
We do have a squirrel, but also like I made this joke like. I did make this joke several times, but we do have like essentially it seems like what fucking happened is Fimbulwinter almost. It is the calamity of ice, but it's the end of the world came in a fucking giant ice storm. So it's just like they might have like pulled that. But Omega just posted it for the patron chat. This is one of the reasons I started thinking it's all like, are we getting like more Final Fantasy X? Because they posted this and I was all like, that kind of reminds me of Guado Salam from FF10. Like I said, I'm tentatively calling that place Alfheim for right now, though, because it looks elfy as fuck.
Also, actually, so I just thought of this. I didn't think about this when I saw this concept art, but so these buildings look very Nordic, but there's a boardwalk in the middle of this lake. That's also kind of 10-ish. Like there was a lot of like coastal areas and villages.
Yeah.
It's like I would not put it past Final Fantasy XIV for them to be like, oh yeah, no, we used to be a whole island-like culture. Like when our world was warm, there were a lot of oceans and stuff.
Honestly, I think that would have to be work to make ice work so well. Honestly, yeah. There'd have to be a lot
to
of
actually freeze all the oceans over. And it's not like everywhere in Final Fantasy X was tropical. It's just the one you think of as the island one because it starts in an islandy area, and Blitzball is a recurring theme, which is also very water-coded. A literal underwater sport. Yoshipi didn't say no Blitzball. He just said, not yet. Yeah, my 2 cents for the range GPS is it better either be the fucking 2-gun guild who's been in Limsa for 9 million years. They have a logo and everything, or make it Blitzball.
This GIF is wild.
This is a pretty crazy GIF. But yeah, so they showed us a lot of concept art, and we do seem to be doing this thing, which is not just like, it is Evercold. It is obviously going to be ice-themed. It seemed to be based around the ice calamity, but it is not just ice, right? Which even I think like Shadowbringers, like, yes, obviously there's the effect in the maps where it's always daytime until you restore the night, but those still did have varied and sundry different biomes as well. And it looks like we're going to get that with both Sky Islands and maybe some stuff below. There's a lot of snake stuff going on. People are already wondering about, and actually, hold on, this is a good concept art. I'll show this one as well. I'll link this to patron chat. Here's like a giant snake citadel, but also it has like antlers and branches. So it's a tree. It's a snake tree.
Snake tree! Scree!
Yeah, there better be a world serpent here. But also, another favorite thing that got showed in the concept art after the trailer was we're getting a new allied race. I guess in the 4th, Lalafels are cats now.
Yeah. I do want to say, usually with every xpac, we actually get multiple new races, so I am holding out hope that maybe the Guado get added as our new elf species.
I could see it. There's a couple of different ones they can do. And also, I think they, like, since it's a shard, we get to play around with what we think of as, like, the different positions. Like, obviously, like, that is, if you don't know the joke, under their helmets, the dwarves in the 1st are just Lalafell. Like, they're dressed like early FF dwarves, but, they're the same skeletons and same appearance as Lalafells. Whereas, like, the equivalent of, like, Amalja and kobolds are normal guys in, the Crystarium and surrounding areas. Ooh, some Goto Salam concept art. Yeah, the color palette in that Alfheim stuff is definitely about right.
It's not, like I said, it's a little bit more veiny.
The architecture's not 1-to-1, but there's definitely a focus of, like, trees and flowers, and there's a big gap in the middle with, like, roots stretching down, like, holding the Sky Island together. No, we have to fight Jormungandr in a swamp, guys. Like I said, I'm making my joke. I don't think this xpac is going to be a whole reference to 7, but keep your eyes peeled if there's ever a Nibelheim, gang.
Honestly, now that you say that, I don't think have we fought a Jormungandr in 14 yet? We like to pull shit everywhere.
I don't think there's an outright Jormungandr. Obviously, there is Midgard Zormer, which is what Midgard Zolam was just they couldn't translate Midgard Zormer back in the 7 days. But I'm pretty sure Midgard Zormer and Jormungandr are supposed to be the same guy. They're just different names, different epithets. But that's not stopped 14 because they're different things.
Yeah, they're different things. Like I said, I mean, they could be big, long, snaky boys.
World Serpent. But yeah, no, like there's a lot going on here. I think that's really interesting. With like they showed quite a lot. Like I believe Yoshi P said that they had planned actually on having some videos of some areas, but that was another thing that he talked about after he showed up. By the way, pure aura. The Evercold trailer hits us. We get the titles. They talk about a lot of stuff. A lot of interesting plot stuff that I don't want to get into for people who aren't caught up on everything in the xpacs. I have some theories because Yoshi P described that we are the Heidelin Zodiac saga ended in Endwalker, and we're starting a new saga which is called The Missing Gods. Also, he specified that the subtitle in Japanese for Evercold is Wanderer's Journey or Outsider's Journey. Like it's technically ambiguous, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's like a bunch of different stuff going on. But like after the trailer drops, right, house lights go down, they show the logo get cold, and then the house lights come up and he's hitting the Manderville pose.
It was so good.
So there's a lot of interesting things going on with some stuff we've picked up and some theories. I think the interesting thing is the way the trailer makes it look like is that straight up we're going to be able to not just ourselves go, but just use our new MacGuffins to just yoinky splinky our companions directly to a new shard.
Yeah.
Which also probably explains what a couple of our friends are not doing in the trailer. Stola's got to go back hang out with the Knights Blessed. And if Thancred doesn't go see Reen, I'm gonna kick him.
Kick him. Violence.
I'm gonna take his margaritas and send him back to the first. This is Thancred. So like I think they obviously some of them are probably just hiding for later, but there's definitely like symbolic stuff going on, like I said. But to circle back around, the thing that was really interesting and why I think obviously some of the stuff being saved for Berlin, the next FanFest, is just the normal part of the hype cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think also the reason why they were a little short on some things, because Yoshi P did say on the panel that there were plans to show some more stuff, but it wasn't quite ready, was because they've already locked in their release window.
Yes.
Evercold is coming out January 27, which is, he did the math on stage, about 9 months from now, which is a pretty tight turnaround time. Like, the gap from Endwalker to Dawntrail was a little longer. They kind of showed the differences in a slide. But yeah, this is a very swift turnaround time. But Yoshi P he seemed confident on stage that they're going to hit it. It just means that they aren't done with some things yet. But yeah, so like that was our top note was 8.0 Evercold, quite a lot of stuff, and they brought up some things that I think we technically talked about in the the PvE ladder was the thing we talked about in Mailbag. But that they talked about like changing how we're doing progression from being more weekly than being daily. They said they're going to change how item level will be gained. They did say that they're going to raise the level cap to 110.
There was discussions on this.
Yes, they debated internally, but decided that it was simpler to keep with a normal level increase. I'm glad they discussed it, but I can also kind of see, especially with all the other stuff they're changing, why they decided not to do that, because that would just be another axis they'd have to futz with.
Yep.
But one of the things they are planning on doing is basically changing how item level will be done. So, obviously doing some different stuff, like you can fully pose and customize yourself in the character screen. They're going to change the character screen because it's been the same for many, many years. They are planning on changing how they handle item levels, so you should be able to sync and mirror your highest item level to your similar jobs. So you will no longer need to max gear every single job you have to use them on all the latest content. You can eye level one job, sync that to your other jobs. I'm going to assume if they're appropriately leveled. That seems like a good barrier.
Yeah, but this probably won't Yoshi did say this won't take any effects like, high quality materia and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
Getting gear for your highest jobs, for the ones that you want to play most and maybe want to clear content with, still important.
Yeah. And I think keeping stuff like materia and crafting quality involved still... There was not a lot of discussion about crafters and gatherers in the keynote or in this first day. Probably because we're doing a lot of work on battle jobs. But there was a general emphasis with the way the adventure activity is described, the new adventure screen and the new weekly stuff. And another thing I talked about, which is they are formalizing 8 into seasons. And they say formalizing. Yoshi P clarified that they're not actually really changing that much. They're just making it explicit that, every 2-patch cycle will be a quote-unquote season, so that will be a reset for your activity rewards and stuff like that, which is, kind of where it is already, depending on the patches, you'll get, your highest level gear will be from, whatever the latest in normal raids is, or whatever the latest in alliance raids is. Put a pin in that one, chat. Put a very large pin. Or etc. That your level of gear you need stays the same for a little bit, and then it increases. So that's not a Berlin shaped pin in the alliance raids.
It's a purple and green one.
Yeah, it is. But the general vibe seems to be that Yoshi P talked about a lot. A lot of what they're doing for 8.0 is trying to make it so that you feel rewarded and engaged for playing Final Fantasy XIV, doing the things you want to do, right? So if you just want a PvP, you'll get rewards in your weekly missions and get PvP rewards and all that stuff. If you, just want to show up to do, some trials, do some roulettes, it's all there. Let me actually pull up this screen. Let me blow this up a little and see what the examples are. This is just a mock-up, but they did say that they've got, main scenario quests, side quests, instance dungeons, trials, Fate with the highest rating possible, Frontlines, Gather and Synthesize, so craft and gather collectibles, Ocean Fishing Route is on that list, and Gate, so Gold Saucer. So, obviously the biggest rewards will be from, specific things, like doing dungeons, like doing, Frontlines. But you can get your achievement points every week by doing, crafting and gathering, and it's not on the exact same level, but it's kind of on the, let's see. Yeah. Fates, Gates, side quests, and collectibles are all 50 points in this mock-up. We'll see if that's the actual point values, but it seems usually like most rewards in 14, tangential to how much time it takes, doing a Frontlines or doing a dungeon gets you the most points because those take the most time to do, usually. But yeah, there's a lot of this focus, so that's really interesting, and I think is pretty neat. It definitely, it feels kind of like Yoshi P, I don't think said this exactly, but I would not be surprised if, Yoshi P was yeah, we can't actually give you that many more, armory chest slots in your character, so we gotta do something else.
I mean, I'm kind of in that way. I've actually tossed away all the gear for classes I don't plan to use, because I usually stick to very specific classes. I just want to focus on getting stuff for them, because not only, I have to, grind for gear, I have to have a place to put it all. It sucks.
And, obviously they're doing improvements with, the next patch will increase what kind of stuff we can stick in the armory chest. It will, I think, make more stuff combine into glamour sets.
Yeah!
So that's real cool. Also, I'm getting a lot of helmets. Fuck yeah. It's the big Vera helmet update.
Helmet update! Helmet update!
Helmet update. I can put them on now. I'm no longer that guy.
Excuse me.
But yeah, so it feels like they're trying to do their best to conserve space without just straight up giving you more space, because more space means more memory. This was the thing when talking about the system requirements. Evercold will be available for the PS4, but Final Fantasy XIV is reaching the physical limits of what Sony has structured the OS of the PS4 to handle.
So you got about 2 years.
Yeah, you have about 2 years to switch to a PS5 if you want to play on console, or get a Switch 2, because that's another thing that got announced is you can play 14 on Switch 2.
Wild.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. It's interesting because they seem to have to do some backrooms payment processor shenanigans. I actually forgot about this because no offense to the Xbox Warriors of Light, but I don't hear a lot out of them, so I don't think about them a lot. That was a huge boon when it did get announced, but it definitely feels like it's something that's been out of mind lately. But yeah, I forgot you need the lowest level of Game Pass to play 14 on Xbox. So you need a subscription to do it. So
I've heard some people rumbling and being angry and grumbly about, PlayStation Plus and, paying for online services, but I'm just like, I kind of shrug at it.
I understand why, because we get the like, I get what people are going for with like, oh, it used to be free, but it's like, yeah, but also, multiplayer stuff used to be crappier. If you want to run the bigger, better backend, you need money to do that, unfortunately. Especially with everybody and their mother buying up RAM. But, like, Square Enix seems to have done some dark dealings with Nintendo, so you don't need a Switch Online subscription to play 14, but your 14 subscription on Switch 2 does not count for all other platforms. Presumably because it's going to have to go through the Nintendo eShop specifically, so Nintendo can get their cut. But if you have a pre-existing subscription, a pre-existing purchase of Final Fantasy XIV, you'll be discounted if you buy the Switch 2 version. So, like, if you want to jump to Switch 2, it should be, not as tedious. And if you are just planning on, if you're going to join on Switch 2 and stay on Switch 2, you should be fine. It's just one of those things where, like, there's some weird stuff to do with the marketing. But yeah, we are truly everywhere. We are welcoming, we welcomed Xbox Warriors of Light. Now we're getting Nintendo Warriors of Light. Like, and I don't speak that much Japanese, but I always got a little kick whenever I hear them refer to the players as, Hikaru no Senshi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I get that. But to cycle back the point, talking about, kind of these customizations, the idea seems to be that, like, there are hard limits. You've only got so long before it'll be, I think you implied about 8.3 before 14 will just be too big for PS4, and so it'll have to go. But that is probably why they can't just be like, oh, we can just give you more, slots because you won't explode. I really hope somewhere at 8X we can fit more glamour plates, just because there are now what's the count going to be? I think it's going to be 25 total jobs, because we're at like 20, or we will be at 23 once we get Beastmaster, I think. So it'll be 25 total when 8.0 comes out. There's only 20 glamour plates, gang. That's not enough, Yoshi P.
It's not.
Even if I don't play all the jobs, that means that we're cutting into them. 24, okay, we're at 21 now. So it'll be plus 3. Still, crazy. That's 24 is still more than 20. But yeah, the mirroring things. They also talked about some other stuff that they didn't have fullest details in, but they have some more things going on, like adding more toggles to gear, kind of like the visor toggles for helmets now, or the cursed Vera ears toggle. I think it's pretty cursed because it looks very goofy when I take my ears off outside of certain headwear. But yeah, they showed examples of, like, toggling belts on and off, toggling shoulder pads on and off, toggling sleeves, tassets at, like, the hip. So not only will you, not only do you get to kind of mirror your look better, but your specific glamours can get more customized because you can take off elements that better suit you, which is great.
More customization is good.
And I don't think I've really seen a lot of glamours where I've been like, oh, this would be seen a lot of items to glamour myself and gone like, oh, this would be perfect if I just took this belt off. But definitely there are some looks, I think, that are like, oh, this would probably be a little more streamlined, without the pauldrons or something like that,
Yeah.
And definitely, like, there's some stuff where hand slot versus chest slot with sleeves, there are definitely some combos I've noticed are a little odd looking.
Oh, definitely.
So, if you can toggle off certain sleeves, that'll be cool. Stuff like that. Yes, right, you did forget blue, so it is 25. My math is right the first time. Because Beastmaster soon, and then 2 more. It's gonna be real fun. But yeah, so, the other thing they talked about customization is they didn't have any examples to show us yet, really. Like, they had some vague screenshots with Dragoon jumps. But they're also talking about character action skins. So, basically, changing certain interactions or certain actions you have to have specific animations. So, like, I bet, for instance, one of those will be, like, doing Estinian's Dragoon dropkick versus doing, like, more of a proper, down strike with your polearm, stuff like that. He's even talked to, like, some people at the question panel today, I think even asked him about customizing teleport animations and stuff like that. So just more customization. Yeah, more detail in Berlin. I think that was another one where they were like, we wanted to have some video examples, but we didn't have them mocked up for you yet. But like, that's neat. I always love like looking at stuff with different characters. They did talk about some new character customization as well. No longer will you have color presets. You probably still have presets, but now you can go full color picker on things like hair, eyes, and skin.
Full spectrum.
They're adding more customization to facial features, so eyeshadow, more iris effects, and layering your face paints.
Yep. Also some stuff with the lips as well.
That's right, yeah. Some new lip options as well with some shininess customization. Oh, actually, I'll grab that. Here's one of these images about an example of the customization for gear. So like toggling on not just sleeves, but also like backpacks, the cummerbund on the jacket. I really like that with like Yoshi P talked about the scarf and was like, customizing for the season. I'm just like, you're right, Yoshi P. I do care about that. If it's warm, I want my character to be dressed cool. If it's cold, I want my character to be dressed warm. Don't ask me why. Literally busted out my fucking Imperial set to build the new Viper Gland for the next patch because it's going to be cold in game. But yeah, so more customization. That's really cool. As Yoshi P didn't say it straight up, but as you said, that probably means a new free Fantasia. Let's see. Do we want to talk about the job stuff now or the non-job quality of life they talked about?
Actually, do you want to take a break real quick? I need to step
away.
We can take a break. I don't know. Like, I don't mind if you keep yapping, but I need to step away for a little bit.
We can take a break. See, I'll take a break. We've been going for just under 2 hours.
All
we'll be right back, gang. And we're back. But yeah, so do you want to talk about some of the non-job quality of life stuff Yoshi B talked about at the keynote, or?
Let's actually start with the job stuff. I think that's
yeah. So at the keynote and then expanded later, the big thing was that basically they said that we're gonna change how jobs work, kinda. Specifically, there's gonna be 2 modes, which they are calling Reborn, as in the way the game has been since A Realm Reborn, and then Evolved mode. And they talked a lot, Yoshi P himself talked a lot during the keynote, had a lot of slides about the evolution of the game, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's gone when it's come out, how many years it's been. It's been like 13 years since A Realm Reborn. Actually, no, it's been 13 years since like 1.0, over 13 years since 1.0 as well. Like it's been a long time, basically. And the game keeps growing. It's funny, they showed the slide and they're like, almost 35 million players. But also, yes, if people, I think we talked about that in the pre-show. If people are naysaying 14, it's not working because the number of registered accounts is still growing. Like they didn't say active users necessarily, but people are still signing up to play Final Fantasy 14. But the basic way we talked about evolved mode is generally, how do we want to phrase this? This is the reason why they had a whole dev panel about it.
Generally, right now, the meta in playing Final Fantasy 14 is centered around a 2-minute burst window in which you do a certain amount of actions. Anytime you deviate from said actions, leads usually to a loss in DPS and generally frustration among the player base for whatever reason. This is what is currently is Reborn mode. Basically the system that we have been using since 2.0 with Retribution. Evolved mode is being basically developed to basically, instead of sticking people to certain 2-minute rotations, is to better express individuality and freedom so that players are more able and willing to play how they want to without needing to commit to certain optimal rotations.
Yes, basically, instead of giving you one singular rotation, which is always going to be the best, the evolved jobs are designed to have fewer buttons. They explicitly said the idea is it should compress down into about 16 slots, so about 2 full bars, and give you, more flexibility in how you play your job. And Yoshi P, he didn't say this explicitly, but in the dev panel, the kind of the way I felt about it was that it felt like the idea was to make jobs look less intimidating on paper.
I think so, yes.
Because, that is a problem right now. My first tanking job was Paladin. I was a lunatic. I learned it from the bottom up from Gladiator. I still think there's way too many damn buttons in Paladin. Even if I like playing Paladin, I'm just like, God, there's so many buttons. But if you like I got into to Paladin, pre-working through Endwalker. If you were to pull up today in Dawntrail and as a level 1 Paladin, I don't even know if you can check all your jobs because you can't get a stone, but imagine you could. You look at all the Paladin's abilities and you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of buttons. Never gonna learn this job, Same with Dragoon. Dragoon was another one they showed off at the dev panel. Dragoon has a lot of buttons by the time you're done. And it's cool, but also, God, it's a lot of buttons. So they can be intimidating to look at. So the idea with Evolved is that they're going to reduce buttons down, reduce your number of buttons, do this by consolidating functions of buttons. A lot of buttons that are either fully redundant or semi-redundant, they're trying to make one thing. And we'll circle back to explain that a little more later. And overall, try and make it so you have a less set rotation in mind. Now, Yoshi wanted to emphasize, they're still planning on making it so that you can complete content in both Reborn and Evolved mode. The idea isn't to kill the Reborn player base. If you do like playing it in Reborn and you like kind of the... not really flexibility, because unfortunately a lot of current jobs are fairly rigid, but the utility of having all those extra buttons that are all discrete individual buttons, you can still play in Reborn mode, for now. I wonder that they might, eventually phase it out or what, but they'll keep it that way. And I think if somebody has the dev panel, I don't know if they've posted it as a separate stream, but they talked about doing general combat overhauls. I think the plan is in 8.0 to kill the 2-minute meta no matter what.
Yeah.
So regardless of Evolved or Reborn, where your 2-minute cooldown, raid-wide buffs, we're getting rid of that shit. But you're still gonna have your static rotations as Reborn characters. But in Evolved, they are compacting your buttons and changing the context, making a lot of your buttons context sensitive. But Yoshi P was very careful in the keynote to be like, hey, this is not going to be a simplifying, a lot of dumbing down. He brought up Street Fighter, which he's probably thinking about because I don't know if it's been officially announced, but I'm pretty sure it's been leaked that Street Fighter is going to get a Tifa DLC.
I've heard that leak as well. Yes.
So that's pretty neato. But it's not going to be the way that the modern versus classic controls work. It is meant to be 2 different systems, and one of them is meant to be more dynamic. In short, because this guy was introduced during the dev panel, they brought out Mr. Prime.
Mr. Prime? Yeah.
Yes, Tamaki-san, who's been a battle designer for many years on 14. We're calling him Mr. Prime because he designed Math Boss. and several other interesting game mechanics, but also most recently, he has been the guy solely working on the revamp and the design of PvP actions. And so, basically, it sounds like Yoshida went, okay, let's get a little of that sauce on the PvE. So, the plan is to make PvE jobs more like PvP. Not all the way, but make them more dynamic. One of the first things they're doing, which is something that I've always thought was really cool about PvP, is, hey, your 3-button combo? It's 1 button now. 1 button. The button changes from one combo to the next one, and that's a thing a lot of people have been asking for, myself included.
Me too.
I understand, again, kind of the old, I'll say it, it's a grog mentality. It's an old school neckbeard mentality to be I understand the theory behind, well, if you have 3 separate buttons, you need to remember which button to press. However, I have fat finger dropped my combo many times. It's dumb. I don't like it. Simplifying it so that you press the same button that transforms into the next one in the combo is better, because at no point do you ever want to hit the wrong button in the combo. You don't want to do that. So, they're gonna switch it up. That's great.
Super
great.
But
also, we are recombining a lot of actions. They talked about Paladin first, and I thought it was so neat. So yeah, in our patron chat, Ark has just posted the image they used as one. So in Reborn mode, Paladin has 2 separate skills. You've got Clemency to heal yourself or an ally, and Holy Spirit to do a ranged magic-based attack. In Evolved mode, that is one button, one action called Divine Justice. But based on who you are targeting, it will do different things. If you are targeting yourself or an ally, that will be Clemency. If you're targeting an enemy, that will be Holy Spirit.
No, I love that personally.
No,
Context,
that's great.
I mean, target, I don't know what to call it, but target conscious actions, I guess.
Yeah. In general, I've been calling it context sensitive, but specifically target sensitive, yeah. They are doing that with Provoke, which is another, I assume, going to, they said they're adjusting all role actions, so I assume all will be similar, but that's another great thing. So, Provoke is now a ability with charges. If you target an enemy, it is Provoke. If you target an ally, it's now Shirk. A great way to retain the functionality of shirking, which can be important, but making it so it takes less buttons. They have also specified that Interject will now be comboed with Low Blow.
Yeah.
So basically, if an enemy can be stunned, Interject will stun them. If not, it will still interrupt them, if that's important. Because stunning is a thing that, like, enemies, get more and more resistant to over time. Let's see, I'm looking at this. So, yeah, I think those are the big ones, is compressing those two. It looks like, based on what they're saying, you're still going to have Reprisal, you're still going to have Basic Rampart, you're still going to have Arm's Length. But, they may work on those overall. But, like, for Paladin, they showed off quite a few context-sensitive tricks. So, obviously, there's the Divine Justice. But they also showed the dash. It does look like we're going to lose the damaging dash to enemies, but in return, you can now use the Paladin dash to allies. If you dash to an ally, it's cover now, which is how cover or Guardian works in PvP. You target an ally with it specifically and dash to them. That, again, really cool. Cover is a very niche ability, but it's nice to have, and also, I do really like also using it to dash to allies. Like, mobility is really, really fun. It appears that Shield Lob and Shield Bash are being combined for Paladin, so that if you are close up, it's the Shield Bash, like AoE stun, like stun cone. If you're far away, it's a throw. The throw might also be AoE, because one thing that has been noted is it doesn't look like they're showing yet AoE rotations, so we don't know exactly what that's going to be. Will that be that, like, jobs just don't get AoE rotations, period, and your AoE attacks are all, like, part of your other buttons? Like, if you want to do AoE, do you have to do that as your burst phase as Paladin? They did say they're going to be, like, fiddling with like, cooldowns overall. So it may just be that if you want to, what was previously your DPS burst is now just your AoE phase as Paladin, right? Like, you just go AoE mode and then you have to stop for a little bit. Or what? But, like, they're changing a few things. And another interesting thing is they talked about making abilities more dynamic to make them more dependent on timing. Now, as a Paladin, when you proc Holy Sheltron, if an opponent actually hits you, you will counter. If you time this right so that you do it just before the attack hits, you do basically a perfect parry, you do a stronger counterattack.
Nah, that sounds so good.
Yeah, no, like, they've definitely been cooking with, like, I always talked about them integrating some of the mechanics from the 16 collab, like, because that actually has you, like, using dungeon actions, like special duty actions to dodge, I'm just like, that sounds like cool timing styles. So yeah, no, making your tank actually able to actively, set up a move to retaliate. Yeah, it looks like 8 seconds for the normal counter, 4 seconds for the big counter. So there's timing buffs. They showed off Dragoon as well. So Dragoon is kind of similar, where, you'll do your basic combos, but you will have options to insert buttons where if you do certain strikes, they will favor Dexter or Sinister. So not only do you have flank positionals, you straight up have left and right positionals. Once again, this is not baby mode. You now have to know your lefts and your rights as Dragoon. Paladins will have to, if they want to optimize their DPS, will have to know when to hit the timing to get the bigger counterattack, right? And, like, that this is the shit that people are going to be nickel and diming you on Party Finder about.
Oh no, I'm expecting there to be, like, priorities, like, evolved mode only or reborn mode only or stuff.
Yeah, I expect so. Like, because I think like I said, Yoshi-P said that he thinks that reborn mode, or not reborn mode, evolved mode will be just slightly stronger, but I also kind of feel like that is expecting you to have reached the skill ceiling of evolved mode, which some people are not going to do. So, like, I think for certain old school strategies, people will still want to do reborn mode just because they're going to know exactly when you're supposed to be doing what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those, even if they're killing the 2-minute meta, the bosses were still previously designed for it, so you'll still know that they'll have very regular patterns. Like, part of doing away with the 2-minute meta is Yoshi P talked about, it was not just constraining for players and made players feel bad, but it was also constraining for the developers because they had to set bosses so that they had to do mechanics and certain interactions with your 2-minute meta. Now they don't got to do that shit.
They have been unleashed.
Only imagine what kind of heinous, fucked up shit we're gonna do now. But yeah, so for Dragoon, like I said, they changed positional, so that builds charges, which gives you stronger combos. You now have up to 3 charges of a vengeful jump, so you do your jump strike. We're back to a damaging jump. But this basically has True North built in. Thank God. They gave you 3 charges, and they made it an attack that's also True North. I didn't see the screen exactly, but I think True North may be perishing. Good fucking riddance, honestly. I use True North a lot, but it's also very annoying that you've only got 2 charges. But so you can ignore your positionals, hit him. If you do that, you will fill up a bar that lets you do stronger combos. You still have your Wormwind Thrust charges to build up by doing stuff. But also, as you expend, jumps, you'll get access to Blood of the Dragon. That will give you access to a stronger combo, which the animations looked like that was Dragoon's old AoE combo, your old AoE 1, 2, 3. But also, you now have your Dragoon Limit Break built in to PvE. So you can now do the Sky High Jump. So
this is definitely something that makes me go, yeah, that's, Dragoon. That's Dragoon, job identity right now. Big ass fucking jump.
Yeah, big jump. Including you do the animation from PvE or PvP where you leave the ground, you're in the sky. And they talked about during the dev panel, they experimented with it being like completely evading damage, like old school Final Fantasy style. They found that was a little unbalanced, that was a little too free. So right now in beta, it's a 90% damage reduction. Which is cool, but also, I said this, I'm like, that's so funny, instead of floor tank Dragoons, we're gonna get Sky Dead Dragoons, because you just know people are gonna sky jump and just be like, I'll simply dodge it, and the boss will still hit them with so much damage that they fucking die. Just getting a fall out of the sky. It's okay, I'm ready for it. But like you said, that's super flavorful, and let's see, looking at this, looks like you still have your ranged attack, one off, you still have your backdash, but this Dragoon hotbar is way simpler. So we do still have Feint. Okay, so I think I'm right. You have leg sweep, but I do notice that it doesn't look like Bloodbath is on here anymore. I bet Second Wind and Bloodbath are the same button now in Evolved. It's probably a small self-heal and then a buff where you heal damage, or you heal a percentage of damage you deal for a little bit. But this Dragoon, very compacted. No, they did not show casters yet. I will say, somebody did apparently see Tamaki, Mr. Prime, on the floor and asked him about Evolved Black Mage, and he said, please look forward to it. So, I think we're doing some freaky deaky things. They did show healer and they showed ranged DPS. So, they showed White Mage. White Mage is interesting. They talked a lot about more philosophical because genuinely, White Mage is pretty easy to pick up anyway. It's already pretty easy to play. Mm-hmm. I go out of my way to play White Mage when I want to heal, but I don't want to think too hard, But they talked about some of their ideas for healing, so they are planning on making it so that, normally when you're playing a healer, you are not necessarily hitting GCD heals. So it looks like the plan is to change that. So by using your GCD heals on yourself or an ally, you will build a meter as White Mage, where that will activate a powerful DPS attack, a powerfully damaging attack. So basically, if you are healing via GCD heals, you will not necessarily be missing out on DPS. But you're also not missing out on DPS because they said that they're planning on removing cast timers from your basic glare. So you can still spam glare faster even than ever before, but also means you can move, you can scoot and shoot, which definitely felt like a problem for some healers where having cast bars on your heals and your basic attacks means that if bosses are doing a lot of AoEs, you got to do a lot of stopping and starting. Mm-hmm. So giving you some mobility. Let's see, looking at this, so you still have your bell, you still have Surecast, you still have your dash. You have Temperance, which is your wings, and they did say that will also now include a speed buff for at least yourself, possibly for more people. That is still Holy 4, I think, or the upgraded Holy on there. So you've got an AoE button, and you've got your charge of glare. It looks like we've done away with thin air and speed of thought. But you've got, what? Regen, Cure, Tetragrammaton. They said that they're going to combine Divine Benison and Aquaveil, it sounds like.
Yes.
What I'm noticing is that there's one Cure button. Yeah, it looks like for Evolved they're doing away with lilies. There's no Blood Lily, no Lily. That's built into your basic Cure now, it seems like. So
I could have swore I saw like a Lily's gauge though.
Yes, I think that is your gauge of GCD heals, like, is still the Lily gauge, and it turns into a big attack. So it's like the Lilies, but it's no longer you just passively gain it by just, existing. You have to actually heal to do it. They talked about in the dev panel, the idea seems to be that, like, if you're playing a healer, you should be doing some healing, but they understand that people, like, will DPS more as healers rather than heal, because, you don't want to lose DPS, right? Killing enemies is just proactively preventing damage for later.
It's true.
But they want to make it so that you heal more. That also, I've heard some people some people are kind of concerned because, like, obviously, you are on a face, you're losing options. But also, like, honestly, I didn't think of White Mages having redundant buttons until I looked at this spread. But, like, White Mage does actually have a lot of redundant buttons, right? Like, you've got 1, 2, 3 cures. How many of those cures you using at level 100, huh?
You got 2 Medicas.
Yep. You've got 2 Medicas. You have both, your
what is it, Tetragrammaton, which is just like a 1-use fucking off global cooldown. It's weird.
That's just a free heal, which is still on this hotbar with 2 charges, so it looks like that's kind of replacing your lilies as like your emergency heal button. You're just like, oh shit, that guy needs a heal. Use a charge. Yeah, Tetra's off global.
I did say that, didn't I?
I thought you said it, but you might have said it a little fast. The people in the audience might not have heard. But yeah, but it looks like you've still got your Medica like button. That's one button. Thank God. Like White Mage was already a really easy job to play, and you can play it as a really easy job, but I'm thinking about it now, it did have extraneous buttons. Like, it has buttons that straight up get replaced by better buttons later, and the old buttons don't go away. And that seems to be what Evolved Mode is about. That's another thing they talked about later, but they showed an image of this. They are trying to, in Evolved Mode, rebalance when you get abilities to get them sooner.
I believe they specifically said that by level 50, you should have all the buttons you need to play your class, and all the levels after that is just improving upon your on those abilities.
Yes, and adding, more branching effects where they replace. And yes, I scrolled up to see the slide. Yeah, the idea is that by level 50, you will have all your basic buttons, so you don't need to fuck with your hotbars, and then you improve upon that. And that's another one that's pretty good. I think that's multifold. First of all, I think that's really good for the 2 new jobs, because they said the 2 new jobs will be designed with Evolved Mode only in mind. There will be no Reborn Mode for them. They're just designed from the ground up to be in Evolved Mode. That is good, because this is a real problem the later xpac jobs have, is when you level sync down to inevitably get Crystal Tower, you lose all your shit. You can't do anything fun as a level 50 Viper.
Oh god, it's even worse when you go even lower.
Oh yeah, no, like you're so bad with like Copper.
There's a reason why everyone groans when we get Satasha or Copper Bell. It's not because we don't like the dungeon, it's just that we can't do anything except hit like one button.
Oh my god, like even Hawk Manor is rough sometimes. Like the way abilities are geared, like you'll lose some real shit. How many times have I done a dungeon as tank and been like, oh shit, don't have my gap closer. Can't close gaps.
Can't close those gaps.
Like, yeah, this is, and we're increasing the level cap to 110. So, that means that the new jobs are going to start at 90.
Yeah,
they're going to start at level 90 and go to like level 100. Assuming they do the normal method, like they may actually change that for Evolved. Who knows? I would assume so, because they want to get you into the XPAC.
Well, no, because they usually do the 10 levels so they can do a bit of a job quest, ease you into it instead of just yeeting you at the
Yeah, they gotta teach you.
Yeah.
But, like, if jobs are designed that way, like, that means that you're going to have less of a fear of getting a high-level job unlocked and suddenly being like, oh no, I'm a level 50 sage. I can't do jack shit. And other such qualms. I think Reaper was okay at 50. Like, pretty sure you can dance partner. Wait, can you?
No, you can't. Wait,
you can't dance partner at 50. You can dance at 50. You can't dance partner. So a lot of these old jobs have gaps. What is it like? Can you continuation at 50? I don't think you can as Gunbreaker.
No, you cannot. No.
Yeah, that's another one that's always like
every time I do that,
painful.
I'm just like I feel like my combo is so empty.
Yeah, so like even if it's only for evolved mode, that sounds like that's going to be such a good thing to respec where these are, and like consolidate it so you should have all your basic buttons by 50, and then they change over time. Like I said, I saw some people being like, oh no, they dropped the dot from White Mage. Maybe they didn't. You still have Holy in there. You don't know. Maybe you do a dot now. Maybe do an AoE dot.
Yeah, I know. This is one of those things, like, I am personally looking forward to it because it looks like they're doing fun things. I am personally hoping for Summoner they actually turn, the big Bahamut / Phoenix into turrets like they into PvP, so they, they'll do damage while you're still running around doing other stuff.
That would be nice. And it would be good for a casting job, right? Because that's, you set up your thing and it does damage while you do other stuff. I also personally am like, oh, please fix Physic that way. Make it so that that's one button that heals if you target an ally and is a damaging spell if you target an enemy.
Honestly, they could probably do that with Ruin. Just combine Ruin and fucking Physic.
That'd be pretty good. I think Ruin's the branch.
Like, huh?
I think that is actually the branch. Where, like, when you get Physic and get Ruin, they're right around the same level.
Yeah. If you target an ally, it's Physic. If you target an enemy, it's Ruin. Because honestly, the current fucking 2-minute meta, you don't use Ruin ever. You go immediately into Searing Light, hit the second one, Bahamut ability, slam Bahamut buttons, and then you go into the triple Eggy rotation. And once that's done, Bahamut's up again. Like if you're doing, and because Energy Drain and Fester are off global cooldowns, you can just slam those in, whatever. So yeah, there is almost no reason ever to use like Try Disaster or Ruin. And they're completely. Honestly, I could probably remove them from my fucking hotbar, and I would not lose a goddamn thing. I usually just keep them on there because they were given to me, and I value things that I am given.
Well, and also, again, level sync. You never know.
True, but yes, Arca's also right. You only use Ruin if your spell speed is too high, which is why I make sure it's not. If you've got to tweak it so that it's just right.
And that sounds like the kind of thing they'll futz with in Evolved. I'm kind of curious to see like casting jobs. There's a lot of room in there, like making things sensitive in timing. The Black Mage kind of being like stance based will be interesting. I'm very curious to see kind of what they'll do with Red, but also Red Mage will probably be better because it'll be your melee combo will be one button and your ranged combo will be one button.
Oh, I bet they're going to do the context sensitive thing that if you're in close and hit the button, you'll dash back, but if you're back and you hit the button, you'll dash in.
That would be nice, yeah. Also, do away with that one that uses the same charges where you don't dash, you just do free damage. That's always been a weird button to me. I don't know when to use that one.
Can't imagine why. Honestly, I can see Red. Wait, no, yeah, I can see Red Mage combining their heal res maybe. Well, actually, here's the thing, Chris. It's not that Summoner heal needs to be buffed. It's that Summoner heal is still based on the Mind stat, where the damage stat is Intelligence.
Yeah, it should scale with your stats like Vercure does, because honestly, Vercure is not a very good heal. It's absolutely only useful in an emergency because you can double cast it. But
yes,
if we're making it so that Summoner keeps their, well, and I assume they would keep the res because that feels like even more so than Ver-Raise. That's like Summoner being the resurrection caster is it. But like honestly, I think that's how they should stay. Like if we're gonna split casting jobs, like Picto and Black Mage should be pure like DPS casters. Because, like, Summoner and Scholar are linked, and because Red Mage inherently has always been a job where you mix white and black magic, those should both be the ones that do supports, right?
Well, I feel like we're kind of doing this anyway, because we haven't really got into it, but they did talk about how they're going to be splitting with the Evolved Jaw system, splitting tanking into the main tank and off-tank segment, where the main tank is going to be more focused on preventing damage, counterattacking, while off-tank is supposed to be more about, party-wide mitigation and, support actions. I can definitely see them doing something like that with, honestly, all the DPS. I think that with this, I think we'll have at least 4 of each class of each type. We have
at least 4, because we'll have 4 ranged DPS
Yeah,
now. We have 4 casters. We already have 4 tanks, but we'll get...
we have all that, but they'll be able to actually do a good split of roles with each type. I don't know if they'll do that for like melee range, but I can definitely see them doing it for magic.
I mean, there's already kind of a split in ranged physical. It's just the split is a little silly because it's basically like Dancer and Bard are supporters who just happen to be able to do free shots, and Machinist is supposed to be nothing but damage, baby.
Yeah, no, the more I'm looking at it, no, I'm pretty sure that their like this like off tank main tank thing is going to be applied to like all classes for like more direct damage and like support. Like, because I think the setup is already there.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it yet, but they did show off as their example. They showed off Bard, and they again streamlined the amount of buttons Bard does and made it more dynamic. Like, honestly, I'm not real jazzed about playing Bard in PvE. I play Bard a lot in PvP. Bard's very fun in PvP. Standing on cliffs, just belting people with powerful shots. But the different levels and like hitting your songs is different. So they've changed it so you can play your songs in any order, and depending on which song you play... Sorry, chat, hold on. My internet's dumped. Please wait, I'm going to pause till it comes back.
With other people, it's a lot of damage.
Yes. Sorry, my internet lagged out for a second. We're back.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so we were talking about the like the way like bards and stuff work. I mentioned, and I don't know if that was heard, where I was like, I like playing bard in PvP, not so much in PvE yet. I'm like slowly working on it, but seeing what they showed for the new bard like was like, ooh, that's cool.
I love the direction context flips. You can flip left, you can flip right, you can flip back. Or wait, I don't know if they showed they could flip back. You can dash forward though.
No, you can backflip. Yeah, it's all 4 directions, and if you do it while not doing a movement, you just do a bonus shot.
Okay.
Like basically changing their back jump into a omnidirectional. Get ready for so many bards to accidentally side jump off.
It's gonna happen.
Or jump forward into like an AoE accidentally. But yeah, they changed the way the songs work so that each of them like turns on a different combo that does something different. One of them is meant to be more supportive for your team. One of them is meant to access your classic dot rotation. And the other one the last one I believe is focused on just fast instant hitting combos. Like just rapid fire through stuff. So like, yeah, no. If we kind of assume that way that goes out, then yes, the other ranged DPSs will probably be similar, because we're getting a new one, obviously. Dancer, is they're gonna probably cycle through, and I've played Dancer a decent amount. I can kind of imagine what they're gonna go for, because it'll be, your basic combo will be 1 rotation, and then it'll be like, you get charges for your fan dance, which will be another like resource you build up for bigger attacks. And then probably you'll get your like bonus button.
I do hope we kind of get rid of the RNG factor of maybe you get this and maybe you don't. That's the main reason I don't like Dancer, is just because when you're trying to do combos, it's a literal
your third button's always flip. A coin flip.
Yeah. Plus, it's also a coin flip it's also a coin flip getting damn charges on your fan. And I'm just like, ugh.
That sounds probably like what they'll do. Like, they'll probably make it so that you always hit like a fan dance resource, and then you will, like, when you build it, you do it. Maybe they'll change it so you need like more charges, because you've got like, you can stock 4 fan dance, but I'm not max level dancer, so I don't know if there's like a cool button that only works if you got all 4, but I don't actually know if there's a reason to stock all 4 besides just that you get to do it 4 times in rapid succession. No? Okay, yeah, so like, they might make it so that, you need to, if they make it guaranteed, maybe you need to build 2 fan dance buttons to do 1 instead of, that many, but we'll see. They're not afraid to like give you new resources and give you multiple resources, because like, Dragoon has like, Dragon Blood Gauge, and then also has Dexter check, Sinister check, like they seem to be like changing how that works out. But yeah, like what I really hope though is, like I said, like Machinist also I hope will benefit from this by giving them more cool buttons, like, because Machinist is also already like very simplistic. Like you hit the same 3 buttons over and over again. When you want to burst window, you spam your checkmates and stuff. You could sticky bomb enemies, and then you've got heat mode for more burst, and then also you've got turret mode.
Unleash the queen.
So, like, I can imagine them kind of, like, again, streamlining and swimming some of that stuff, and, you know, depending, maybe they'll do more flavorful things, like maybe Scattergun will push enemies now, like it does in PvP, annoyingly.
I've gotten pushed many times by Scatterguns. Ooh, maybe they'll actually give you Marksman's Spite. That'd be nice.
Ooh, yeah, they did give, as, like, your big DPS juice, like, you build up enough charge, you get a big button. Maybe.
I have died to Marksman Spite several times over the past couple days in PvP. That's why it's on that's why it's on the mind.
Honestly, I mean, that's no offense meant, praise honestly, but that's what it's for. You see a caster causing trouble, possibly a summoner summoning Bahamut, you just go, no, gun. Like, I have my complaints about how PvP is. Mostly it's about how certain things are balanced in front lines. Like, the damage reduction numbers are crazy. Speaking of Marksman Spites, as Viper, I have survived several Marksman Spites because I'm taking like 40% less damage than everybody in front lines. It's crazy. But like, the actions in front lines are usually pretty cool. Like, I have personal thoughts about like crowd control, you know, stuns on players and like the fucking Dark Knight suck.
Yeah.
Like, that's annoying. But if Salted Earth and PvE actually gathered up enemies, that'd be cool. Like, everybody was joking about them changing Astro again, right? But I'm like, on the one hand, what if Astro's context sensitive? What if play card does different things based on who I'm targeting? No longer do I need to find the tank versus the range DPS. What if it just knows what fucking class I'm targeting and gives him the buff? And like, obviously, you can probably still set it so that your specific cards are like, you only have so many, you know, you draw, so you only have so many charges to use. But that's definitely always like the weird thing about Astro is fucking remembering. I said this actually when the dev panel was happening. Monk's gonna get unhinged, like with your fighting game combos. Now that like the game is checking whether you're on somebody's left or right, near or far, they're absolutely gonna do some dumb Monk shit. Like, I haven't played Monk at all, but I'm just imagining like, you know, hey, it's Monk. Now you have a button. You can thunderclap to them. What do you do when you're already close? Now it probably does something different.
1-inch punch. Bam.
Left punch, right punch. I don't know if they'll give you a ranged attack because that's like, that is kind of like not what Monk does in 14 anyway. Like, monks in other FFs have ranged attacks. Air punch, you know, air render type stuff.
I mean, we are getting another 10 levels. We could finally get the fabled fucking range attack.
Discombobulate. Also in classic FFT, everybody and their mother knows the Squire move Throw Rock. Like, everybody's throwing stones in that game as just a basic ranged skill. So, like, they could do that for Monk, but again, that could be another, like, context-sensitive thing where just, like, you know, maybe when you do your buttons from far away, you get more gap closing, right? Like, you dash up to them and punch them.
Honestly, like, if we're talking about job identity, Monk should probably not get a ranged, you know, attack, because as annoying that is, guess what? You're the punch man. You should be punching.
Yeah.
Get in there and punch. This is one of those things that people... Oh, sorry.
If they designed it to have more dashes, I think that might be more comfortable.
Yeah. Or give something or give them like something to do when you have to inevitably move away from the boss. Like, you know, maybe, you know, focus chakra and just fucking, you know, get like a self-stacking damage bonus.
Ooh, that could work. Yeah, build up some stuff.
No, because that's the main reason why people complain about the lack of a range attack for Monk, is because there's several times when a boss will drop an AoE right on their feet and everyone dashes away. People start spamming the ram attack for that little bit of damage, and Monk is just like, I'm over here. Hi. And also when moving mobs, in big pools, generally mobs will outrun players who are not sprinting and will catch up with the tank. So DPS will usually rely on their ranged attacks to do, you know, chip damage to them as well, which is something that Monk has troubles with. So generally, I do think there is, like, I do not believe that rank should get a ranged option per se, but they should get something they can do that will not make their DPS suffer. Like, so
maybe they get an extra movement speed ability. Like, they should, if any melee DPS had increased movement speed, it should be Monk. Like, Dragoons get to jump, Monk should go fast.
Monk should go fast, and like I said, I do personally like the idea that you basically, you know, you hit a button and you basically charge an attack. God, it makes me think of Jam from Guilty Gear, who literally has a move where you hit down twice in the button, and she just builds a charge, so she just shoots up one of her moves.
I think FF monks are also usually the like focus, you know, type.
Yeah.
job. You build up energy, and then you'd get big energy, or you get increased crit rate, that kind of stuff. Focus energy and Pokemon type stuff. No, I think there's a lot of options, and obviously, like, Ninja is probably gonna do some cool stuff. I wonder what sort of moves they shall bring. Like, I think honestly, Viper's already like halfway to evolved.
Probably, yeah.
With like your combos, like basically auto evolving, they just pick like left or right, and then you can seamlessly switch between AOE and normal, and then get charges. What I bet what they'll do for Viper is they will actually make it matter, like if you're doing like left blade or right blade kind of stuff, like Dragoon, like actually balancing your blades and then go double mode where it doesn't matter as much. But honestly, I kind of wonder about them getting like that would be interesting if melee DPSs could sometimes also get some of the counter stuff that like Paladin does. Like Samurai already has, shit, what is your defense block? It's not chakra as Samurai. What your third eye, thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I know it's something. Yeah, you can do third eye to like reduce the damage you take, and then that builds charge. Like, probably not to the level of their like special, LB counter, but I could see Samurais doing counterattacks, EI strikes. You hit me, I hit you back, kind of a thing, or blocking builds a charge into a big counterattack better. There's a wide variety of options out there. Viper in PvP has a guard stance and counterattack, but you got to stand still while doing it, which does get you killed. If you see a Viper guard stance in PvP, you either need to run away or you need to have your whole team bully them because they can't damage reduce through everything. But there's, like I said, it's all this stuff is real cool. I saw this like the full dev preview and I was like super hyped because they've said before that 8.0 they're gonna do a lot of stuff for job identity. They want to make jobs feel more unique to play. And I do know that sometimes, like, that is a thing that different jobs struggle at. I personally think there are some jobs that do feel pretty unique to play, but still, like, there's definitely some stuff which is kind of built around, like we said, built around the 2-minute meta, so, like, everybody has, burst phase, 2-minute, etc. Now giving you these different options, and it feels like it'll be more rewarding to play because it's no longer just, hey, did you memorize your fucking rotation? Do you remember which one to hit when? Now it's more like, okay, you have this button. You push this button 3 times. You have this button. Excuse me. Drink throat again. I drink a little water. Let me lubricate that. Hydrate, everybody. Now it seems like, you do your basic combo, that gives you a resource. You can use that resource to then, go into a second big combo. Or you can do side buttons to, like, do this or do that. Maybe you jump back. Maybe you jump forward. When you have it charged up, when is the right time to do your Dragoon big sky high attack? Like, actually, I think that's honestly like a real question. Like, do you do that when the boss does like a raid wide or something to tank a lot of damage and do more damage? Or do you do it, right away? And it just so happens that, if the boss does an AoE, you're probably less likely to be punished by doing your big jump. Who knows? But in general, it seems like trying to make things more dynamic and more interesting is a general vibe, because they've also talked about how, like, they're trying to improve field zones and make it so that fates are more dynamic. So I think they talked about how, like, for example, they might do fewer fates, but they might be longer and maybe lead to more, like, fate chains. So, like, that seems like kind of I almost feel like a similar idea to what they're doing with the evolved combat. Like, the idea is that, you have a more focused tool set. Like we said earlier, you get it at earlier levels, and then you improve and you find the time to do your cool new stuff. It's real neato. This GIF is not a clean loop. So I was just staring at it bounce for a second. But yeah, no, like I said, I'm very excited about evolved mode. I don't know if, like it seems like the idea is not necessarily to make it so that you can, like, or rather, not make it so you will play more jobs, but possibly make it easier to pick up more jobs and definitely make it feel more interesting to get invested in a singular job, or different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did say earlier, and you agreed, it definitely feels like the reducing the button bloat and kind of compressing the buttons makes it, and even making it so that you get your basic buttons sooner, makes it feel less intimidating to jump into a job. You won't look at your new tank job and go, oh shit, I have so many things to do. It's like, no. Tanking, real simple. Do this, do that, jump in, get some aggro. Honestly, actually, if shield bash or shield throw is like AoE, that actually really simplifies things. Because you throw the shield, get the group AoE, and then you go to the next pull.
Yep. That is usually one of the problems with doing the big pool, is that generally a lot of times tanks will either just hit one thing and keep going, which allows DPS to peel them off when they inevitably hit things, or the tank has to stop and maybe do an AoE combo or two to make sure that everything's on them. Depends on whether or not they have instant or non-level. Usually when I play Gunbreaker, I usually stop to hit them with an AoE combo before moving, just because, like I said, people are crazy with damage sometimes.
Yeah, usually I do my basic AoE combos as tank too. We'll still throw to start the pull early, but then you throw, walk into them when they catch up to you, hit them with a couple AoEs, and move on to the next group of guys. And I know that they adjusted how much enmity tank AoEs generate, because quite frankly, there were some burst phases that were so good they would steal the normal aggro. Picto obviously had that problem with their hammers, but also Lucky's beloved Summoner. If you go whole hog right away, Summoner generates a shitload of enmity.
No, even right now, I think a Summoner still has the best opening burst window.
Yeah, if your tank is not on top of their shit, your Summoner will still steal enmity. So, definitely, I think, maybe streamlining that will be a good process to make it so that there's less, again, I feel like the idea is not necessarily to make, baby mode or dumb it down, but make it clearer what you're supposed to be doing. When you have a lot of different buttons that all kind of do similar things, there's always a question of, well, what should I actually do first? Should I lead the pull with a ranged attack, or should I do AoE? Do I need to worry about the white mage casting Holy and stunning the entire team before I go around a corner and we break line of sight?
Yep.
And speaking of playing white mage, I always make sure to wait until the tank stops to do Holy, just because I don't want to disrupt the pull. That's my that's always a personal pet peeve as a tank and as a healer, is oh, the tank went, the tank's sprinting ahead, he went out of sight around a corner, but he's still, running into packs taking damage, and it's buddy, I'm sprinting, but I still can't catch you, I can't fix you if I'm running.
No, a moment's caution saves, an encounter of pain. It truly does. But no, people gotta go fast! And they have Burger King crowns!
That's another thing that I'm wondering about. Again, if we're breaking away from the 2-minute meta, we're changing how we're resolving some of these things. At least we're making it so it's possible in evolved mode. Because like we said, we're excited to play revolved mode, but you can still play in reborn, so your tank can still do the classic, AoE combo, single target pull, etc. Actually, that's interesting. You'll probably be match made with people on both modes, since it's player side. That's actually another thing they mentioned. They're going to open up party finders and duty finders to be not just locked to your data center, but to be region wide. So you'll be pulling from more servers, so should make queue times faster.
Yes, they are testing this out though, starting in Japan, and they'll make their way east with it.
Yeah, with new network features, you do want to be testing.
Got to be testing.
And Yoshi, that'd be great.
This is something that is actually quite important, because like I said, I have been trying to get with other groups to get content clear, and they do talk about how certain servers are definitely more focused on clearing content. So generally when people want to do content, they have to jump over to said servers, even data centers, to do so. So this will actually be very good for, getting people together to more easily get into more content, I should say.
Yeah, Yoshi P did talk about that explicitly during the discussion. He mentioned that he knew that it was common for players to use world travel or data center travel to go to more raid focused servers. So they will test this out to make it more accessible to people. Sorry, excuse me. And definitely talking about they're going to play, you want to play test network stuff. And Yoshi P also said he's listen, I know we're in Anaheim, but it's going to be a Japan first test just because all of our engineers and programmers are in Japan, so it'll be easier. And then we'll, go through the rotation. And I'm like, that makes sense.
No, so that would be very good for, finding more pickup parties or pickup groups. I guess pickup parties would be pups, not pugs. Actually, no, I want to call them pups. I don't want to call them pugs. I don't like pugs. Pugs are ugly.
They can't breathe so good.
No, they can't. So that'll be good for getting more content done, which I think is important. Sometimes you just want to open a party fender and see what people are doing and be like, hello, I'm here.
It's what they talked about with, like, even going back to, like, the weekly thing. The idea is to give you more freedom to do the stuff in 14 you want to do and not feel obligated to do certain kind of stuff. So if you want to clear content, if you want to be one of the 20% who clear savages, you will have access to broader party finders and so on and so forth. And otherwise you'll be able to do, different things going on. They also talked about like timing. Like, he said that they're planning on changing alliance raids a little, so that they said that they're not necessarily shortening them, but they're meant to be less demanding. I wonder if we're gonna finally do some reworks to some of the older ones, where like for instance, Labyrinth of the Ancients. If somebody's not nice enough to give you the ABC markers, people can filter into the wrong rooms.
Oh god, that is such a pain in Labyrinth.
Which, if it's really bad, can be a wipe because there won't be enough people to do it efficiently.
Which is something that I think about, is something they never did Future On. When they have to split the alliance, which they do, they usually do something that automatically pushes you to where you need to go.
Yeah, like, I think the Crystal Tower raids are the only ones that has a couple of things like that. For instance, there's also, in World of Darkness, there's the Atomoses, which I think you can go to the wrong one. That's less mission critical, but yeah, there's like a couple mechanics where you have to do the split right. And if they change the programming so you just get sucked to your appropriate alliance's chamber, that probably you still have to know to do the mechanics, and somebody still has to stand on the fucking button. But
4 people have to stand on the button.
Yes. Yeah, you gotta have enough people on the button. But it does mean that, like, you will get newbies less confused who just, like, don't know where to go. And again, if nobody puts up the way markers, nobody says in chat, A, go here, B, go here, C, go here,
Mm-hmm.
It's usually bitching post facto where somebody's like, yeah, we don't have enough guys to do our button because somebody started the fight before everybody got here, and too many people got sucked into A. Like, it's just one of those things where, so, because like I said, that means, like, less likely you have to know the raid ahead of time, but more that, you still have to do the time, right? You still have to do the mechanics, but it means that it's less likely to have a goofy fuck up.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Anything else from the keynote we haven't?
Evangelion collab.
Right, yes. Speaking of alliance raids, actually. Shit, did I plan that segue?
No, but I'm using it.
It's fine, I'm using it. Yes, no, they announced no new news about the normal raids, that'll be Berlin, but they did announce what the alliance raid will be, and it is, as Lucky just said, straight up, a fucking Evangelion collab.
I have been seeing art of so many people in plug suits. Even people already putting together plug suit cosplays.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, that'll probably be not necessarily that could be like, one of the raid gears in the raid.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
honestly, I've seen them there making fucking gear sets based on the Evas themselves.
No, that I think is where it would be it, using the armor and the coloring.
They might have plug suits as maybe a cosmetic drop like they did with the 2B coffer.
Oh, I could see that. That could be a good one. Yeah, like a just a one-off full set that gives you the glam item.
Because they do have glam items which are just, will take up legs and chest and all the same slots. And if you use them for glamour purposes, be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But no, I definitely think also,
this is Yoko Taro's fault, is what I think.
No, this is Yoko Taro's fault. Yoko Taro probably is, working on the Eva, and then Yoshi say, "Hey, Yoko Taro, what do you do?" He's like, "I'm working on Eva." It's like, "Oh, cool. I wish I could do that." And Yoko Taro just said, "Let me talk to some people."
I've also heard jokes about, Yoshi P goes into his office, turns on the light, Yoko Taro's sitting there, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm working on Evangelion." It's like, oh shit. And I'll say this, I'm not the world's greatest fan of Evangelion.
I like the
do
rebuild.
I want to? No, that's a little mean to be like, hot take, the original Evangelion's not that groundbreaking, actually. No, it was, at the time, it was doing stuth. The problem, I think, with Evangelion is kind of the Seinfeld's unfunny problem. Ava did a dark, fucked up, looking at not just mecha, but also the kind of like esoteric magical mecha series in like a way that people weren't expecting, and was very tied to both Anno's personal depression and just what was going on in Japan at the time. But I won't say that I hate Evangelion, and I think the rebuild movies were like very interesting for Anno to literally go back and be like, my depression is fixed. Here's me doing it again. And even doing things differently. But one thing I will say for Ava, assuming we're gonna fight the Angels, those guys are gonna have freaky raid mechanics, gang.
No, I'm excited. I'm ready to get screened by Decahedron.
Yeah, Ramiel Big Beam.
I need to fucking block the Big Beam. I need to do like we do with fucking Susanoo's sword and just shield
yes,
up.
Please.
Hold.
Let that, one of the, maybe all three of the tanks have to, because you're not as big as an Ava, you all gotta do the shield together.
Oh no, we have to put up an AT field. Yes.
It's good. Catch the Falling Angel when he does the orbital bombardment. The Angel who's just a shadow, or who's like his shadow's the 2D on the ground, and the thing that's 3D, like that's gonna be confusing, the ball. But honestly, even just like the normal humanoid angels also do a lot of weird shit.
No, like I'm excited, especially since this is gonna be a fucking 3 Alliance series, I am assuming.
Yeah, Yoshi P did say it would be the full series.
Yes, I am also excited for Soken's Cruel Angel Thesis. I don't know if we can get licensed music like that. They can do that, but everyone does think of Cruel Angel Thesis and they think it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, because you got to remember all the Nier Automata stuff that's licensed under Nier Autonoma. Cruel Angel Thesis is not licensed under Evangelion. It was just used for Evangelion. Actually, was it written for? Actually, now that I say that, let me actually double check.
It might have been written. I mean, like the bigger license pull would be Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes.
That, I don't know who's got the original on that, so they might be able to do it. But
no,
just,
actually, take that back. Cruel Angel Thesis was released in the series soundtrack, so yes, it is considered part of the OST. And it is considered Anna song, so no, Cruel Angel Thesis might actually be under the Evangelion umbrella, so they might be able to use it. Same with Fly Me to the Moon. Wow.
So yeah, they officially, that means that the Ava production team like owns that cover, that performance. I wonder if Fly Me to the Moon might be public domain. Because like, Fly Me to the Moon's in Bayonetta.
That's true. I forgot about that.
It could be like a public domain song that like you can do your own rendition of. Yeah, I read your comment, X, just as I finished speaking it. So, but yeah, no. Like I don't. I'm trying to think. Like I don't. Unlike some of the stuff they did with Nier, like I don't know where you like. Would you put a remix of Cruel Angel's Thesis as like the boss theme, or would it be more of like they play it when they introduce you to the raid, like you're doing a mecha opening?
I don't know,
but like it's wacky. Like this is definitely a very interesting collab to pick, but I am excited about it just because like there's gonna be some really interesting stuff going on. I don't know if it'll link back up. Like that could be, Alliance raids don't have to be linked 1-to-1 with what's going on in the story, right? So
no,
it could be like a return to where loot.
Actually, generally, they take place after the story. The main story is complete, because usually we don't get the first Alliance raid in the. That's true. Yeah, you get
in the later patches. Don't put that evil on them. Let's put that evil on the Ava team. They'll fucking if they met Hildebrand Manderville, that fucking Ava would explode. Much like Hildebrand would explode, but he would also defeat the angels somehow.
Oh, yes,
but yeah, no, like the team's experimented with bio-horror and like mecha stuff with Sorrows of Werlut, so it could be a follow-up. Or maybe we'll find some weird shit in the fourth.
We'll probably find some weird shit in the fourth. It's probably going to be, considering it's going to be it's probably going to be, we find some shit in the fourth. Like we found fucking Nier in the first.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I do think, is there anything else off the top of my head? We had a bunch of little things here, but I don't think they're necessarily a thing. And we have a lot of things that are coming up, so we have to work for Berlin, which is a couple months. But I think that might be it for the Final Fantasy thing. Also, we've been talking about it for like 2 hours, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I said we talk a lot, but we can wrap it up. Yeah, we're about 3 hours, so it's been about 2.
Yes. But we do have a couple more things we can talk about.
Yeah. Well, one of them, if you don't mind doing the talking, I do want to ask you, how's Pragmata?
Pragmata is amazing, and I love it, and it is, honestly, it's very culturally chaotic right now. I don't know if you've been seeing stuff about it online, but I have. So, Pragmata is in what we would like to call a dad simulator kind of game. In much of the Last of Us, God of War, and I feel like there was another dad simulator recently that I can't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I've heard a lot of
Yeah.
people joke about calling it Dad Space as opposed to Dead Space.
I think that's very apt. Like, I've talked about this. I feel like this game is very Dead Space content, but just more with the clinical white instead of the bio-horror. But Pragmata is a great game. Like I said, just the swift top, you are a systems engineer who has flown to the moon to do some repair work because things are dark up there. Everything goes wrong, your team is killed, and you get knocked down and wake up, and you adopt a small AI child. You are now trying to get back to Earth because everything on the moon wants to fucking murder you! Of course, at the time, you bond with Diana, the AI girl you have picked up, and promise to take her to Earth with you. Currently, I have not beaten the game. I like futzing about in the game because, like I said, it has a lot of things. It has what is called the shelter, which is basically your home base when you're not running around the moon blasting mechs. Has a bunch of things. You can upgrade weapons. You can upgrade hacking. You can upgrade like skills and abilities. You can upgrade specific stats. So I usually like running around and grinding and gathering stuff. Also being better at getting better at the main mechanic of the game, which is a combination of a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter and a hacking interface, which is rad. Basically, when you aim down your sights, Diane will also open up a hacking menu that you can interact with the face buttons on the controller. Basically using the directionals to move your screen around. You can basically hit nodes and like certain nodes to do special effects, and if you complete the hack, you basically do damage to the enemy, do a certain amount of debuffs, and open it up so that you may fire at it with your gun to do additional damage, because without the hack, the AI robots that are trying to kill you are very well armored and not susceptible to gunfire normally. So, I do think, like, with the design of Hugh, our main character name is Hugh, by the way, in his big, in his big space suits, especially with, like, the covered helmets, the, very specific way to kill enemies, and, the fact that you're not necessarily dealing with space horrors beyond your kin. It's just, like I said, it's like a very clinical white science, problem of, rampaging AI. But I can still very much see, like, the Dead Space comparisons. Overall, the game is very good. The interactions between Hugh and Diana are very genuine and authentic, and I love them. Hugh is just a good boy TM. He's been, like, through a lot of life, but he's grown up pretty okay and, wants to make sure that Diana's okay. Diana herself is hyper intelligent, knows a lot of things, but has no context for anything because guess what? She spent all her life on the moon. So she constantly is asking Hugh things, much like a child would. So it's very sweet to see their relationship get together and just see them bond. Like, eventually, like, Diana will, like, draw you pictures. The joke about Capcom having AI art in their games.
A solid joke.
It's a very solid joke. When I saw fucking Max do it, at first I was like, wait a minute, and then I was just like, oh, you. That was great. But like I said, the weapon system is actually very interesting. Because we basically on the moon, you basically 3D print everything with a special thing called Lunafilament. So when you pick up weapons, you don't reload weapons. You use the ammo in them and then you toss them away. When you go back to the shelter before you leave, you always get to build a loadout where you can pick weapons that you have printed out and go into the map with them. Generally, enemies will drop, if you're like running out of guns, enemies will drop guns. You can find them in boxes and stuff, so you're never really out. Not to mention, you have a primary weapon, which starts as what's called the grip pistol, and then later you can get the pulse rifle, which will automatically recharge ammo. You will never run out of ammo for it, but sometimes you'll stop and have to like wait a few seconds to, get ammo back so you can start shooting again. So, and they like put the ammos in like different stuff because you have your offensive ability, you have your offensive guns, which is like the shotgun, the rocket launcher, the fucking, charge laser that can, pierce enemies. Then you have tactical options, which is like a grenade launcher, which can knock down enemies, sticky bombs, which can make hacking easier, or a gun that when it's like a wide cone, but when it does it, like adds nodes to hacking interfaces, which are called tactical options. Ooh. Then you have defensive options at the bottom where you can, shoot like a decoy generator where you shoot a hologram of Hugh and all the enemies attack it. Or it puts down the shield, or my personal favorite, the drone hive, where you basically release a bunch of drones and they shoot things. I love drones.
Okay, that sounds real good. Like, I know that was a question we had playing the demo, was like what it's gonna be like, but no, that's good. That's good weapon variety. Lots of different tools. Oh.
So, like, there's a lot of tools in there, and like I said, there's a lot of like flexibility in your gun choice, your hacking nodes. You can learn different ways to do different hackings. Like certain nodes will like increase the heat gauge. The heat gauge is basically you fill that up. The robot got stunned. You can charge in and blast them for big damage. And there's like things like mods where you can like customize how you build. So there's a lot of flexibility in how you build. You can like play Hugh and Diana. So you can be like you can hyper focus on shooting. You can hyper focus on hacking. You can go a blend between them. It's a lot of things. Like I said, I think probably like the most, well, how do I want to say this? The most thing that I find the weirdest is that the environments are, I should say rightly so, but very sterile. Like you're on the moon base, everything's like clinkly white. They do try to do some variants in the areas, but everything is very samey. This isn't necessarily actually a problem because it's a 3D printed moon base. And actually, one of the levels was actually pretty cool. One of the researchers was trying to recreate New York, but it's an AI-generated New York, so things are just fucking weird.
Oh, is that what the trailers meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the Mass Production Facility, and basically it has giant 3D printers that they use to 3D print New York. But because the system has gone off, it got fucked up. And stuff like from what I'm like I think like 60 to 80% way through the game. Actually, I don't think we're getting off. I don't think I'm getting off this moon until like the end. So no, like it's a very good game, and like I said, it has sold super high numbers for like a hot and fresh new IP. Capcom is literally fucking killing it this year with Resident Evil 9 Requiem, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Pragmata. All have been like doing really well, and Capcom had to get in a little humble bag by showing off 3 titles and saying we're not even done yet, and they showed off Onimusha as their next release. I'm like, oh shit!
To which the Onimusha Twitter was like, "We are sharpening our blade," and I'm like, "Damn, they are. The Capcom era is over. They are back."
No, like I said, online there has been like I can't really speak about like communities as a whole, but I've definitely seen this on Twitter. There has been debates and some, how do I want to call them? Questionable individuals on their tastes. There has been a very vocal, I want to say a minority personally, of people who feel that Pragmata is pedobait, that they made Diana way too sexy and attractive. And my first thought is like, if you look at Diana and you think that this is like too sexy and attractive, I think you need to like look at your hard self and maybe get some counseling.
Every accusation a confession.
Yes, it is very much that. I see Diana and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. But it's like, she's cute because, sometimes kids are cute. You want your kid to be cute. Do you want an ugly kid? Who wants ugly kids?
Nobody wants an ugly kid. That's like...
No one wants an ugly kid.
It's the same rules. And listen, I understand. This is a thing. Actually, I think I saw this on Twitter. Some people were talking about how like there's a problem where we have problems relating to pets because we treat them as tiny humans. But like when it comes to human psychology, children are like pets, like small animals. Nobody likes an ugly pet. Nobody likes an ugly child. You look at an ugly baby and you're like, something's wrong with this kid.
No. It's funny you mentioned the thing, but no, like that to me is childhood. Kids running around barefoot as fuck. Like, I don't know if that's changed in like more recent years, but that's how I remember childhood. Also, they have a fun fact. They actually explain in game why she runs around barefoot. It's because there's wireless charging in the floor. So as long as she makes contact with her feet, she is constantly charging up.
Yeah, no, I mean that tracks. No, it's to make her be a kid. She's like, I ran around barefoot as a kid, and like that's also probably a key to like again that kind of like clean, sterile, artificial thing like he's talking about. Like Diana runs around barefoot, but I'm sure she doesn't leave dirty footprints because she is a robot.
Like
and also, you don't have dirty footprints on the moon. That means if you did, you'd have moon dust, and then we're dead. Your lungs detonated.
No,
do not breathe moon
but
dust.
On the other hand, I have seen a few accounts of people who are probably should be investigated for child pornography. They do exist. I hate to say it, but they do exist. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. I think the way Twitter and internet stuff works is, depending on how you engage with stuff, you're gonna see it. Like, I have a 2-step comment. Number 1, this is a literal old, like, X-Play tier bit about, like, ooh, Japan lolly game, like, yeah, the Japanese people have a different vibe with that than we do in the West, and it's not always comfy. I won't carry their water for free. Like, it's not always a good vibe. But that's not a universal truth, and if you assume, Japan game underage pornography, that's just, you're being biased right now. You're literally stereotyping, gang. But I feel like that hasn't been, like, a thing in, like, a while. So, like, it feels like an outdated joke. But I also think that because of the way, like, again, you talked about, like, mostly seeing things on Twitter, right? The way Twitter, like, funnels stuff is it tries to rage bait you, and the people who are doing the best on Twitter are rage baiting. So, like, I feel like Twitter is going to arrange it so that, like, if you have strong opinions or just strong jokes that you take too far, like again, the algorithm doesn't understand irony, you're going to run into people who are, like, counterposing that so that it's going to try and, like, not radicalize, but, like, again, rage bait, like irritate you, make you respond. And so, like you said, there are definitely people out there who probably need to be a little investigated, because the art style of Pragmata is meant to be very realistic. So, like, if you're saying stuff like that, I'm like, I question you if you're acting a certain way. But also, like, that it's a realistic, like the art style is pretty normal, you know. I don't know if it's probably made with RE Engine because it's Capcom, but, like, you know what I mean when I say, like, you know, Unreal type stuff. Like, no, you have an engine that's designed to model relatively realistic human people. And also giant monsters. Don't ask us how Capcom did that one. But, like, so, like, it's not like they're doing a stylized, like, it's not a pedo bait thing, guys. Like I said, dad simulators are a long-ass genre. And yeah, there are people. I was on the internet. There are people who were weird about Last of Us. They existed. And that's different from being weird about Last of Us 2. But are you out here calling Naughty Dog a pedo bait studio? No, you're not. Because you're probably a hypocrite. Because it's like, weird Japanese thing. Pragmata's not that weird. And it's interesting to say that, like, talking about, like, you know, seeing occasional things on Twitter, I haven't really noticed too much of that.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure Pragmata is more in my algorithms than it is in yours.
Well, yeah, because I have not purchased Pragmata. I probably will sometime. But currently I'm getting geared up to buy Saros, because that's also reviewing very well. It's a good year for video games. But like, it's definitely on my list, and, like, it seems like a genuinely, like, good achievement in video games. It is a brand new IP that is, you know, doing pretty good. Is the game, you know, I've like, the best, like, normal complaint I've heard some people say is that it's a little short.
Yes. Like I said, I've been faffing about and trying to get more time out of it, but no, I've heard people who have gone straight through it, they can beat it in less than 15 hours.
I think I've mentioned before, one of the streamers I usually watch his VODs, but Ray Narvaez is a pretty decent gamer. He loved Pragmata, but he's got a VOD up that's like 12 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you know, like, obviously I think that there's something to be said for, like, the current, you know, cost of doing business for video games versus playtime. But I assume it's probably shorter because Capcom, you know, they are making a brand new IP. They didn't want to wear out their welcome. Also,
Pragmata has been a little bit of development hell. So the fact that it has been in development hell and turned out so well, I think is very telling for
yeah, the fact that it's such a banger, considering that they got, like, delayed and then undelayed, is, like, it's a huge achievement. Like, they went through some work. Is it a little, like, could they have made it longer? Probably.
They could have, but, like, as I'm going so far, I don't think the game is necessarily cutting corners, though. It's short, yes, but I don't feel like it's artificially short. I don't feel like we're you know, cutting things. We are hitting, like, emotional beats, emotional conversation. Because Hugh and Diana, they talk while you're moving around. This is actually one of the complaints I have, but this isn't the only game to do it. Where you're moving around, characters will start talking, but you hit a certain point, then they just immediately stop talking. I'm just like, wait, what were we saying?
Locations.
We're having a conversation.
Conversations, yes. What game was it that kind of fixed that? I'm trying to remember which one it was. Where, like, if you do an action, you'll say, "Wait a minute," and then they'll be like, as you were saying.
Oh, what was that?
Did Monster Hunter Wilds do that? That might have been it.
Was one.
Might have been it. There was a recent game that I think quite a few of us played that was in that style, where, like, if you would interrupt dialogue and the characters would comment on it, and then after a moment when you settled in. Yeah, God of War would remember conversations between boat rides, but that's not exactly what I'm thinking of. I don't know what game it is. Maybe
I know
remember.
you were talking about just like because you could like stay with him, but then you would run off, and he was like, please continue or something. Oh, what
no,
was
it was a fairly recent game, but it was like it was literally would do that where like you could be mid conversation and you would like jump over something or get in, and like you would be like hold that thought, and then the next moment you had downtime, you would be like sorry, as you were saying. You know, that sort of thing. I don't remember. There's a few games that do it. But yeah, that's always kind of sad when you gotta like worry about that kind of thing. I think it sounds like Axe put it a good way in chat about Pragmata. It does not overstay its welcome. Like I don't have a lot to say more about E33 yet. I did get to Act 3. I think we're doing some very interesting things. But also, I don't know if it's just because I did faff around a little bit and leave the game open and took some breaks, but I'm realizing that the pacing of E33 does feel a little odd.
Yeah.
Like, the first act of the game, you think things are one way. The second act of the game, you get hints that there's more going on, and I kind of, started guessing some stuff that got proven true later. And then the third one is like, we dramatically shift, and I kind of feel like I could I think it feels like I could just go do the final boss right now.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
you literally
so
can.
The third act is literally nothing. I mean, I won't say it's literally nothing, but like the third act is like it's twist set up, and then it's just like there's no actual third act story per se. You can just immediately go turn around and do the narrative.
No,
like there's side quests and character stuff, but like that means that the pacing is a little odd because it's just like you can now go do the big dramatic climax. Or you can do the JRPG thing where you fuck around for 4 hours.
It is definitely the JRPG thing where you fuck around for 4 hours because there's a lot to do. Like go through the endless tower. There's there's Windward.
You can fucking fly now. Like it's doing the JRPG thing, but it definitely made me realize like going through it that like that's a weird pacing point where it feels like, how should I put this? I don't want to get again no if you haven't done E33 no like giga spoilers, but like it's phrased or framed like going to the Paintress is the big final boss, but obviously everybody goes, it's not the final boss. Mael has a whole top row of skills she hasn't unlocked. And then like they hit you with a lot of like stuff, like some of which is very cool. Some of the visuals in that sequence are very interesting. Some of the stuff they do with the title cards where they're like epilogue, and I'm just like, you're trying to trick me. You're playing tricks on me. But also there's like, it feels like normally what would be the twist and sequel hook, because it's like, oh yeah, look at all this great big world building shit we didn't tell you about, right? That you like thought about. I gotta do the apostrophe. JRPG. That's the joke I heard a year ago, but it's a good one. But like it feels weird to like, you obviously like it's not unprecedented, it's hinted at. But, like, you get so much expo dump stuff just thrown at you for basically no reason. Like, well, some of it is because Verso's a dingus and he didn't open that dang letter.
For reasons.
I know. He was doing it for his own reasons, but also it's like,
as
he
I
didn't
said,
even
everyone in that game
read the letter. Like,
the
letter
before.
says, I leave it up to you if you want to do this.
As I said, everyone is wonderfully and tragically flawed in that game.
No, that I definitely like that's God, what's the third sibling's name? Clea?
Clea's the eldest.
Yeah, she's like, I understand why she's like how she is, but like, damn girl, you're mean.
She's a bitch.
Like
I can understand
get
why she's a bitch, but she's a bitch.
Yeah, she is. Like they're all the themes of one of the themes I should say about E33 is about grief.
Oh yeah.
But also like, damn, nobody in this family is handling their grief well.
No, I think the only person. Well, no, I'll hold that thought off until
I'll finish it. Like I said, I'm in the fuck around time, and then I can finish it up. So like I'm working on it. But definitely, like I said, I had some interesting thoughts about like how the game is paced, where like the monolith is meant to be a fake out climax, like you're supposed to feel like it's the finish, and they dump a lot of exposition on you. But then it's like, but then you can still we've got more game to game, and like it sounds like Pragmata is not designed in that way. It is designed with one continuous story arc or character arc where it does not overstay its welcome, it does not linger too long, it gives you the amount of character development you need, and then it follows through, and it does not, like I said, it doesn't overlinger. Maybe there's a sequel hook, maybe not, when, you know, like you haven't even finished it yet, but it sounds like they are not gonna do, like, a big, you know, twist on you of, like, oh, we're gonna change the whole context of the game. It's like, no, the game is the game, here's the game, play the game, have fun. Which, like, that's good. Video games need that. You gotta video game stuff. And the game's scoring very well. I was interested, I saw a couple of people, like, have some like, more median reviews. Absolute cinema. Perfect.
Sorry, no. A thing that's been happening on Twitter is Diane has quote unquote taken over the Capcom Twitter, and that is the header now is this art.
That's great. Like, that's a great image. Yeah.
I know. I love it so much. But please, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that, like, it sounds like Pragmata is, you know, a video game doing video game stuff where it's just, here is just the experience we want to give you, and we're not like, you know, throwing too much at you. And that's a thing that I think is more needed in video games. Like, there's definitely a problem with, like, you know, AAA project bloat where, like, games get bigger, more expansive, and more fuck around-y to justify their bigger budgets.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think there was a big problem with games for a while of, like, it's kind of the same problem that we had with, like, Marvel movies, right? Where, like, everything had to be a franchise. If you sync a game, you're gonna get a trilogy for sure. And then it's like, no, you're fucking not. You don't know if you're gonna get a trilogy of games. You don't know if you're gonna get 2 games. The video game industry is so in such a weird, fucked up place right now with the funding and budgets where you could sell a hit killer game and all get fired anyway. Also, like, there's not really anything to say about it, but there are some, like, other things going on in gaming that's, like, interesting. It seems like Gang of Dragon may be canceled.
Yeah, they're public. Was it their publisher?
They NetEase pulled out of funding, and this past week they, like, deleted their YouTube channel and all their trailers. So it sounds like they have not secured that funding.
No, I am a little concerned about that.
Yeah, it's sad because the game looked really cool, but also, like, they did not have the money to you know, secure the project, and it's like that's a shame. But, like, that means that video games are in a space where things can be very chaotic. So Pragmata kind of being like, no, here's the game, we got it.
No, they sold the experience they wanted to and did what they wanted to, and it showed in the quality of their product. Like I said, I have my own complaints about E33, but I kind of feel like the same of it. The game devs did what they wanted to.
Yeah, like, I don't think there was, like, any corporate interference in E33. The devs definitely told the story they want to told. It's just that they are kind of a smaller, more focused team, so it kind of feels like they are just kind of, like, they are just doing whatever they like, right? They're doing things because they want to, which is not going to vibe with everybody because they're doing things in their own unique way, basically.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about it. I have not beaten it. I think I'm gonna try and platinum it. That means I have to beat the game on lunatic difficulty, but I think I'm pretty clear for that. I just gotta also get through all the training.
Yeah.
Thing, because like I said, there's a lot. There's like just straight beating the game is probably, like, you know, 10 to 15 hours, and probably getting, like, I'll have to do a second playthrough of it, which will probably be actually, because I do believe they have a new game plus. I'm not sure.
I would assume so.
Anyway, but yeah, I think that's enough on Pragmata. I do want to get it out because Neverness to Everness should be coming out in a few days, and I am quite excited to try that out to see how it is. Like I said, anime. Like I said, it's still. Like I said, it's. I do believe it is a gacha game. Like, I'm pretty sure. I think, even though I think at one point they said they're not going to be a gacha game, I think it's a gacha game. But like I said, anime GTA is something I think I need in my life right now. So I do want to get in there.
Sounds neat. And yeah, like I said,
no,
I'm glad.
No, I mean, Neverness to Everness.
No, they're 2 separate games. They're similar, but no. Yeah, like you said, like, I think NT is supposed to be a gacha game. Now, Anata is the one who said for sure that they're not. But there's I feel like NTE's marketing has, like, been obscure at times. Yeah. But yeah, no, like, I'm glad Pragmata is doing very well. I'm definitely going to be interested in it. I think I'll figure it out in maybe one of my down weeks, because, like I said, Saros is reviewing very, very well. Very well. And a lot of people have interesting things going on, so I'm like, yeah, no, the Carcosa themed, you know, action shooter with Rahul Kohli. Like I said, I like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be pretty cool. So I'll probably pick that up once the month rolls over. But we have some more gaps in the schedule. Like, I don't remember when Onimusha's coming out. Star Wars Galactic Racers date did leak. It's gonna be early October. So we'll keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, I still don't know. There's still a couple of video games that are up in the air. Like, I don't know what month Ace Combat's coming out. Like, that's gonna be probably a lock for me once they figure it out. But they haven't announced a date yet. So
we'll
figure that shit out when we figure that shit out.
It just says 2026. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, but
I will say actually, speaking of video games going to come out, they're just still doing some more promo for 007, which did seem interesting because one of the things they did is like, unlike like Hitman, apparently in 007 First Light you can actually talk your way out of getting caught.
Ooh. That's neat.
Like you'll get caught and you can like do like a hands up gesture or like, oh sorry, got lost, or like you can like respond to guards in a way that they don't like you have to take them down or auto aggro them. So I'm like, that's neat. That seems very James Bond, but also is a good addition to those kinds of games to just be like, whoops, sorry mate.
Charisma, not a dump stat.
Not for James Bond, it's not.
Sorry. I said that in my first thought was unlike our Death Watch game.
Yeah, I mean, I will still say this. If those of you who keep your fellowship at the starting 30, you're still better than most other game line starting characters and quite a few of my NPCs. Many of my NPC stat blocks start at 25 fellowship at their highest.
Wow. That's crazy. I do feel better that putting mine up to 40 just because I'm like, I don't want to be.
No, that's like, that's still pretty decent. But yeah, no, like, it's very, very James Bondy.
Do we want to talk about the Death Watch and actually the Rain and the Death Watch, I suppose? I could always talk about it.
We can talk a little because Rain came out and 79, and it is I did put a note in it. We're taking a little break from Rain. We've talked about it before, but
yes.
we're gonna switch to Death Watch. Overall, I don't have a lot to say about the Rain episode. I think it went pretty well. Other than like the moment where I had like a brain collapse because like I like went to a different point in my script and like said something and you were like, oh, didn't I already say that later? And I'm like, sorry, you did. I just didn't. My brain didn't register that rightly because I was working from a different spot in the notes.
Yeah,
that's my bad.
No, that was like, I guess I'm feeling a little sensitive about my participation in things. I guess I don't know, but like I said, the Rain session was quite good. It was fortunately / unfortunately is one of our. We all sit around the table and talk for 4 hours. But I do not feel like we were ever at any point particularly fapping about or stuck on particular details. I do think we kept moving through things at a reasonable pace. We got a lot of done. Like I said, we got the whole meeting done in one time. And we got a little bit of extra in there. I was actually very surprised about that. Like I said, I didn't actually... okay, I remember what my thought was. I wasn't exactly sure where we'd be going with this meeting. You know, I had the points that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to make, but like I said, this would be our first time meeting several characters in there, and they were all a colorful bunch. I think Captain, was it Gunza? Zonga sticks out most in my mind. So
it's probably by design. That's a character I alluded to her earlier in the story, talking about Fiona's aunt. So like I think she's the character I've had a better idea of longer.
Well, we got many things done. I think we're actually in a good stopping point before we move on to our... how do I want to say this? I feel like we're kind of like, we're in the mini arcs section of our series right now. Like, Summer Court was a big arc. Keltacy is going to be a big arc. And we got a bunch of, like, things in the middle. I don't know how big the Ivy Raider thing will be. It'll be a big, like, military campaign, but will not be necessarily a lot of socializing. That's going to be a lot of dice rolls and tactical thinking rather than, story progression.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. We are, like, as a group, myself as the game master running it, and then, you guys as the players, we are genuinely going to try and, like, do our best to resolve that as mostly company actions, and then, get the player stuff as, like, I'll phrase it as one single dramatic conflict. Like, you never know. Like,
yeah, but to avoid bogging down sessions with lots of rolls. Even small combats take a while, so
like get in one like personal action sequence where you all get in there, and then, mostly resolve it through, like, company roles and, like figuring stuff out.
No. And then from there, go on to Celticy, where again we should start be hitting a lot of the big story beats and exposition and whatnot. So that's exciting. But I will say I am excited to be getting in and playing Deathwatch. We have been spending several weeks poring over the books, consulting the tomes, looking at the lore, and realize that the lore is really fucked up and weird. I'm still dying over hundreds of billions, Omega. I'm still not over it.
I know. I like. When you said it, I was like, that sounds a little big. And then you like clipped it, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that definitely sounds big. I fucking Googled it, and like, there's Reddit threads of people going like, is FFG okay? And they're just like, nah, man, that number's not right. And I'm like, yeah, general consensus is that number's bullshit. We're trying to sound cool. The way I phrased it is that 40K is a setting where you have the sci-fi writers have no sense of scale problem. And also the my number can beat up your number problem.
Yeah. Oh no, this came up because my character Sniperius, that is his name, and I'm going to say that with a straight face constantly. Or no, you guys have to say it with a straight face constantly. I don't have to say my own name. You guys do.
Brother Sniperius.
Like I said, I did a lot of like I said, I'm not very familiar with 40K's lore. Like I said, I am new to it. Honestly, I really didn't actually, now that I think about it, I really didn't start paying attention to it until I did listened to Gaunt's Ghost, and then picked up Darktide, Rogue Trader, and then Aaron did his own small Rogue Trader campaign, and now we're here in Deathwatch. No, it is nerd beer. Like, I have committed to this. 40K is nerd beer. You start off not liking it, not caring about it, but because all your friends are into it, you just take a little bit of a taste, and then your friend's like, oh, yeah, this. And you take a bigger taste, and then all of a sudden, you're in the fucking research minds going, like, this is my chapter now. Like, fucking Lucky's over here repping fucking Raven Guard and fucking Raptors now. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like I said, the whole thing about the 100 billion came up because, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research into here, trying to, craft my lore, craft my thing, because as much as 40K, I do think as 40K is just, is basically, oh my god, now that I think that's like literally just peak male fantasy. You're big, strong boys with big guns. You get to shoot lots of dudes and be cool about it. I do think that they did try to put a bit of effort into, maybe putting some philosophical ideas into it. Maybe making trying to make yourself maybe a little bit of warrior poets and stuff. Do some things.
Definitely the more modern editions do that. Like, you're correct at where it started. Like, the early editions was definitely just like, yeah, we're big manly space boys smooshing aliens, unless we're the colonial marines from Aliens, also shooting aliens. And then, like, the original run of orcs in 40K were football hooligans, basically. Mm-hmm. Like it started as a parody joke that got super serious, and like, I think that at times, Games Workshop kind of walks back like, are we trying to be serious or are we trying to be silly? But it's definitely a space where, like, individual writers have realized that, like, as silly as stuff like space dwarves are, and the squats, as they were called in the early fluff, were very silly. They had, hover skateboards, and, like, they rode around on power trakes and shit. Like, they were goofy because, again, Warhammer didn't know what to do with them, and they wrote them out of the story until relatively recently, where they brought them back as the Leagues of Votann, which is actually, like, interesting. Also, I agree with this decision, but they made the Space Dwarves, the Leagues of Votann, so different from humans that they actually count mechanically as a Xenos race, like in the war game. Wow. Like, they are so far away from where humans are to be in their own thing. It's like, that's interesting. You're doing interesting things now. But, like, there are still things that are, like, really silly. Guess what? The fact that Space Marines have combat bikes is gonna come up. I'm gonna mention it as a thing you can do. You could be like, you guys could take some combat bikes. But that's also very goofy.
People are killing Yoshi P with the fan Q&A right now. Just go look
I've seen some clips. I think our screen grabbing the stream, the VOD.
Yeah.
I've retweeted some reaction images from earlier. He's just like, sorry, it's funny. I'm thinking about it. There's some great reaction images. But yeah, no, like we said, 40K, certain writers have thought about, like, certain things that are very philosophical. The Gaunt's Ghost series is definitely, like, I mean, it's just sharp in space, but like that is telling kind of the story of like what's it like to be, a man doing this shit. I've been rereading Caiaphas Cain. Those novels are usually very much so like those are much more in the tongue-in-cheek side.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, from what I understand, Caiaphas Cain is a guy who just doesn't want to get killed by his own men, so he tries to do right by them.
Yeah, like Caiaphas Cain is a commissar who, like, in his mind, he's a coward. He's like, oh, every single thing I do has been to not die, which the Imperium is like, he internalizes that as like, oh no, if anybody ever figured out how I am, they'll have me killed. Oh, I must hide my secret passion for living. Because he is a commissar who's been to a Schola Progenium, so like, he's had it drilled in him. Cowardice is punishable by death. It's his job as the commissar to shoot cowards. And he's not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to do executions if he thinks it will prolong life. But also, he like, has realized that, he's not wrong, by the way. That's actually a rule. I recently watched a codex compliant video about the only time the Catachan jungle fighters got a codex. They have a rule called "Oops, sorry, sir," which is if you deploy commissars with their army back in older editions, you rolled the d6. On a 1, your commissar suffered an unfortunate accident and is removed from play. You do not get to put them on the board. So like, and the Catachans are like Death World veterans. They talk about like it being a thing that like they're space Rambos basically. So like it is established in fluff that commissars are disliked by certain regiments and may get killed. Yes, the Slime Marbo, who's just Rambo spelled funny, is a from Catachan. But so yeah, Caiaphas, like, he obtains a reputation as a hero even in the earliest novels, like for some of the short stories, because he did things that went above and beyond the call of duty, but also he got to live that way. So he's like nice to his, he is a leader to his troopers. He's respectful to the colonels and the command staff he serves under. He overlooks minor infractions in order to accumulate loyalty. But also, like, he understands that, like, his reputation will be ruined if he does something unheroic. So there are many times where he goes, oh no, everybody turned to me to do the dangerous mission. So of course, like a hero, I just, sigh and said, well, I must do my duty. Meanwhile, he's like, in his mind, he's like, oh fuck, oh shit. Like, so many chapters in the books end with Cain going like, we'd escaped one danger, but if only I knew where that escape would lead me, I never would have got, like, he bumblefucks his way into higher and higher stakes of danger while constantly trying to get out of danger because he's of the opinion that, like, I'll go serve on the front lines with the men by sitting in the back of the Chimera, APC and drinking tea. This is a routine mission. They won't need me for anything. And of course, it's on that routine mission that, one of the troopers that routinely shows up in the novels is her nickname is Jinxie. She gets promoted, but she's like Corporal Penland. The first time she's mentioned, it says that, we suffered one unfortunate accident from a ricochet. The enemies were using las guns. This girl was hit by a ricochet by a laser. In the second novel, she falls into a tunnel, with, alien predators and Cain is of course like, well, gotta go in after her. Oh no, you're thinking of Lieutenant Sula. That's a different character. There's the Valhallan regiment is explicitly made up of 2 regiments which used to be gender segregated, so they're pretty good about, male and female characters in there. There is a gung-ho, like, officer who sees Cain as a mentor, and Cain is usually just like, I got away from Sula as far as I could because she was gonna go do a crazy charge. But it worked, whatever. But yeah, so like I said, Cain's more tongue-in-cheek because he also doesn't want to die, but, like, because 40K is a fucked up universe, his opinion of, like, people genuinely read all the novels and have a question of, like, so is Cain a hero? Actually, he just thinks he isn't because he's a normal guy, or, like, is he actually a coward? Maybe it's both. Not even the author knows. I'm reading the 3rd novel, Traitor's Hand, and in it, Cain gets into a fucking melee fight with a Chaos Space Marine. Why?
Oh, jeez.
Because if the Space Marine switched from his chain axe to his bolter, he's super dead. But he's a really good swordsman. He's explicitly a really good duelist in the books. So he can survive a couple of rounds with him in order for his, competent batsman who always carries a melt-a-gun to shoot him with a melt-a-gun at close range while he's distracted. Good work. So, Kane dives into danger because he's if he can control the situation, he will live longer. And it means that he looks like a hero. But that does mean that, a lot of his inner monologue is, grappling with these thoughts of, oh, I'm a horrible coward. Oh, I'm gonna be judged. Commissars do this or that, but, I'm nice to the men. So, it does weigh on the philosophy. But, like I said, it is more tongue-in-cheek. I don't think... It's been a while since I read First and Only, but I'm pretty sure Gaunt never, shouts out, Emperor's bowels! As, things explode around him, right?
No, I think he swears once in the first book, and the fucking Tanner's just holy shit, he swore.
Yeah, he's stiff upper lip type gentleman.
Yes. Whereas,
Kane's a soldier. He's not afraid to swear internally or externally when things are going wrong. It's his facade is, like I said, when a dangerous mission is discovered while Caiaphas Cain is standing right there and everybody looks at him, he has to keep his mask up and just, smile and go, only doing my duty. Jump into a hole full of Necrons. So yeah, but in general, 40K is a setting that does those things. And I think I'm gonna try and hit that with Deathwatch because, there's gonna be some very goofy stuff.
Oh, I'm excited for some goofy stuff. But
Space Marines are often involved with, weird things, there's a lot of jokes about the Sisters of Battle, nuns with guns, bolter bitches, etc. Because an army of militant nuns that are made up of all women is, inherently a little weird, especially because of their aesthetics.
Oh,
asking me can we get the Exorcist missile launcher that's a pipe organ? And I'm like, actually, I like the other design better because it's closer to a Space Marine vehicle, so I think it works better for Deathwatch. But they do have a pattern where it's just a pipe organ that shoots missiles.
I'm still laughing about earlier. Yesterday we were talking about weapon training, and Axe brought up a feat tac spelled FEAT, weapon training feats. And I was just all but my mind went with feat tax with the limb feat, and I was just all Sororitas feet picks win, and posted a picture of Saint Celestine's boots, and just went, whoa, mama. Apparently, I sucker punched Axe with that one, so I feel super proud.
That one came out of nowhere. Yeah, that was a great one.
It gave me joy.
But yeah, no. So and obviously, I think I've mentioned, we're planning on orcs in the corn. You're going to a planet with giant maize, so there's going to be orcs in it. That's always a little inherently goofy, but also scary. Orcs are scary. Everybody, go watch the Rogue Trader AP. You see how cool Frack is in Melee? They're all like that.
I'm just imagining orcs with corn cobs, cigarettes in their mouth, just nah. They're scary. They're very scary. I know how scary they are, but
But also, I'm gonna have them do dumb shit being oh yeah, by the way, they're vehicle mounted, so you gotta deal with orc war bikes. They also like bikes. Biker orcs.
Listen, man, let me get...
My plan is to make the players amused, but the characters have to be a little more serious.
Listen, I sound know that fucking crack missiles are amazing.
Yeah, you're gonna want some of those for some stuff.
Aaron was we've divided up our rails. I don't think anyone's necessarily a social character. Like I said, I think we have at least 2 characters who only have Fellowship 30. I think Brand is 45. I'm 40. Don't know what.
Oh, did Dallas still level everything out in he said he started by making everything even at was it 43, 30? No, it have to be 43, not 34.
Yeah, I think it was 43 because it's what
but he's gonna adjust
points. Yeah,
he'll have crazy good willpower as a psyker.
But so,
I know for a fact that our Black Templar Apothecary also has crazy good willpower, but he is not fellowshipy.
No, I believe both Axe and Loft's characters have Fellowship 30. I have 40. Iron has 45, and Dallas is wiggly right now.
I'm gonna guess he'll probably settle around the 40-ish area.
Yeah, but outside of a social character or a command type character, I think we have a fairly good spread. We have our heal, we have our apothecary who's Loth. We're gonna have our caster who is Dallas. We're gonna have our techie.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm calling him a caster. We have our techie who is we have our techie who is Axe. I'm gonna be playing sniper. Aaron's gonna be playing range.
Devastator, ranged heavy.
Yeah, ranged heavy. But also Axe, even though he's playing the tech, he's also going to be playing the melee. Going to be getting in there.
Yes, if I recall correctly, Axis has chosen the chapter trapping of the Storm Wardens to have the Sacris Claymore, so he has a Space Marine-sized greatsword.
Yes.
And their solo ability is to tank taunt.
No, so like I think we're like I said, like I'm a little concerned about the not charm and deceive and stuff, but like I am a little concerned maybe about our lack of command and whatnot, because like I said, it's not gonna be just wait, how many is there? 5. 5 Space Marines on a planet full of enemies. You talked about how there's like multiple guard regiments. You've mentioned Tempestus and maybe even the Sisters of Battles on there. So I am a little curious about, if we're not very good at socializing, how we're going to interact with them, but that's going to be part of the, part of the thing is, working with that. And honestly, if push comes to shove, I got 40 fellowship. I can pick up command. Oh, it replaces your knife. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, the normal Sacris Claymore is not powered. It's a 2-handed weapon. But there is a great Claymore or power Claymore version you can get in laters. But yeah, the normal one is I don't know, they're big. Check the Rogue Trader Compendium. That's my second brain for running this campaign, because it's not perfect, but it has a lot of, generic talents and traits and weapons in it when I need to be like, oh yeah, I can't look at the Deathwatch core book stats for a power axe because they're an Astartes power axe. They're for big boys. What's a normal boy sized power axe stats? The books have orc weapons listed, but they're usually in appendixes, not in the core armory chapters. So it's easier to just get one document and be like, what the fuck's the damage on an orc shooter again? An orc choppa? Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I think you've got a decent spread. But like you said, that is one of the roles that the Deathwatch can be. You're not part of a giant big Space Marine company, so you don't have, dozens of Space Marines behind you who all kind of know you and work on the same vibe. You will be deferred to as authority figures by, guardsmen and PDF forces and probably even, like Sisters of Battle and shit like that. Depending on things like even a Inquisitor, if they're not from your Ordo, might technically be like, well, you're doing Ordo Xenos business, I'm doing another Ordos business. So, that's, I can't really boss you around, kind of a thing. So yeah, command will be interesting. I will say, at least luckily, depending on the way things are, the GM section of Deathwatch does talk about using interaction skills and does mention, I'm sure it's not. Or the sets might be, but the errata probably adjusts it.
Axe, the errata is for you have to roll less dice. I've talked about this.
Well, actually, I think he's saying that the specific relic Omniscient Axe might be lower, but I double-checked the errata to see if there's an errata about that, and if not, we can always worry about it. But that's, maybe you don't have to go specific Omniscient Axe. But the relic axe also probably does other stuff, though, knowing them. They like to hide a lot of other things. But yeah, no, I was gonna say, the interaction system, does say that, depending on what you're doing, though, you should get bonuses based on the disposition. So, generally, Imperial Guardsmen will probably want to listen to you because you are an Angel of the Emperor. So, you should be getting at least, plus 10 or plus 20 on most command tests, unless you're telling them to do something, very crazy. Depending on the regiment, that may be telling them to retreat, funnily enough. No Death Corps of Krieg, but, speaking about commissars, actually, there are cases where commissars have to actually enforce discipline to get soldiers to fall back, do tactical retreats and repositions because they're trying to spend their lives stupidly. That may or may not come up. I know you've talked about that's kind of is one of Sniperius's things, is realizing that normal men's lives are being spent inappropriately, mm-hmm. and thinking about that. But also that is kind of the Raptors are known to be a very logical, pragmatic, tactical chapter.
Yes.
We'll see. I'm hopefully giving you enough XP to do some of the advanced distinctions.
I don't know, but like I said, I think the only one that makes sense for Sniperius is Kill Marine, which is very interesting. But which is funny because that's not actually fairly social in nature. Well, it can be.
We're very excited about Deathwatch.
We're very excited about Deathwatch. Like I said, I've typed up I don't know. I don't think I got as flowery as Dallas did, because Dallas definitely has some 40k experience as well, and he came up with some stuff. But I think I came up with a pretty good backstory and put some good motivation and conflicts in my character. I know Aaron has as well. Axe seems to be wanting to do a bunch of stuff at once and seems to have trouble narrowing it down, but I do get the feeling that he is excited as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Axe has been talking about having stress headaches from playing Rain, so I'm hoping playing Deathwatch will, de-stress him as he gets to play something that he is more familiar with, I think.
We've definitely talked about it. Like, Deathwatch is it will definitely be a much more combat-heavy campaign, but it's going to be good to take a break and be not less thinky, but, like, it's a very different feel from, like, a sword and sorcery, noble houses kind of, prestige TV intrigue, and much more like I offered to run Deathwatch because we were playing Space Marine 2 co-op missions, and I'm like, there's a tabletop RPG for this.
Yes. I mean, I think that's literally what happened with Rogue Trader as well.
Yeah.
So no, I think it'll be a good change of pace, and like I said, we're starting a little bit stronger. You're going to be fast tracking on XP. So again, it's one of those things that we're gonna fly high and fast, and try to get a bit of fun out of it before we go back to Rain.
I'm aiming for cool set pieces, cool enemies. Hopefully get some challenges, but like I'm also like crunching the stats, and it's like, boy, you guys are tough. What's your toughness bonus, bud?
Mine?
Yeah.
I think I'm +5. I think I'm just like, I don't think I put anything into toughness, but still, that's 50. So you're that's 5 damage reduction, and then armor's what, 8 everywhere but body, or 9 everywhere but body? I have Corvus, which I think is 1 less than the Mark.
You might
7.
have a little less, but still, it's like it's 8 everywhere, 10 body normally. Yeah, so like you're looking at probably like maybe as high as like 15. Yeah, and then Axe is like, I mean, he's the Tech Marine. Of course, he's tanky. He's mostly metal.
Oh no, my toughness is 40. Excuse me, so mine's a little bit lower.
But you've got, what is it? Unnatural toughness.
I got 7.
So
yeah. So my bonus is 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll tank a lot of hits.
I'll dodge a lot of hits. My agility is 70.
Well, that too. But there are some like basic enemies who will be doing shit like firing auto pistols at you, auto guns, and it'll be like, yes, 1d10 plus 4 pen 0,
and it'll be like, it plinks.
Yes, it will not do any damage if it hits the body, but they can do other stuff to you. And then of course, obviously, we come up with different weapons, and you guys will be like, I'm perfectly fine. Jump down. I mean, also, technically, no, the thing with the Tech Marine is, I don't know if Axe necessarily made agility his dump stat, but I think if he's not in a vehicle, he is one of the slowest of you on foot. 40? Yeah, that's pretty average. Oh, Brand's old. Sniperius is like, you're 70? You're fast, man.
I'm very fast. Let's see, what's my movement here? Hang on. I picked up Sprint, by the way.
Oh, hella. You can do some very, I mean, it's not out of place for the 40k universe, but you can do some very goofy things mechanically. Like, you can I think run like 100 kilometers an hour or some shit.
Let's see, if my math is correct, my run's 48 meters.
Whoo! Yeah, no, your KPH is like crazy. Actually,
I work very hard not to wear scarlet armor.
Well, listen, if you can dodge, but if you do get hit, you want to tank. You will want. That's the thing, right? Normal human dog shit guns are gonna like go blink blink, or I'll be like throwing frag grenades at you and being like, I'm gonna roll 2d10. If I roll 2 1s, nothing happens. If I roll 2 10s, you'll get hurt probably. But like definitely there's some things going on. Like let me talking about your speech move. I won't say it's required reading, but I heartily recommend if you have not ever watched the Astartes short animation series. This guy got hired by GW and is working on official sequel, and I do believe they consulted this guy for the Space Marine secret level episode. Like Space Marines schmoove. You will. Well, I think it more so that this was around the time GW changed their policy on fan animation. I think they specifically went out of their way to offer him a job because they were changing their policy and it was going to get him. And I think the most of these are re-uploads. Like, I don't know if you can find the original artist's upload anymore. But he does good work and they hired him. But Space Marines can fucking hoof it. you guys can one-hand basic weapons, so you can, one-hand fire your full-size bolter while also, like, power blading. Like, it's really interesting the way the talents break out. Like, it's going to be interesting seeing, I guess, where you guys shake up. Like, you're, as the sniper, specially designed to be sniper, you're going to focus on long-range engagements, but bring some surprises for close encounters. Similarly, as the Devastator, Aaron's character is mostly going to be about long-range death, though what exactly he will be dealing will depend on the mission. He said, whether that's bringing the machine gun basically for hordes probably, or like, bringing something spicy for vehicles. As the Tech Marine, Axe Brother Kier is more melee-focused, so, like, Librarians are weird. They get special melee weapons. Dal specifically picked a Force Staff, so he has, a good parrying weapon. But he can also smack people with it. But also, he has mind bullets, he shoots lightning with his brain, so, like, he'll have ranged options. It's just they are psychic, so he will have to be careful about using them.
Oh, Omega, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Sprint adds my agility bonus to my full move, not my run. So my charge and my full movement are the same at 24. But it does let me double my run speed for 1 turn. So, no, I can, if I decide to hoof it, I can move 96 meters around. If I do that 2 rounds in a row, I take a level of fatigue, though.
Yeah, no, that's literally running out your stamina bar, but I don't remember exactly how long a combat round's supposed to be, but it's definitely less than like a minute, so like you...
I mean, can I double as a wrecking ball?
Actually, like genuinely, if you... I don't know exactly like what the damage would be, but like you should be able to just shoulder check human-sized targets. Like, again, we've talked about actually, I don't think we talked about it on air, but we've talked about this while playing Space Marine 2. There's a reason why in Deathwatch you get, like, unarmed combat master and shit. Like, doing the glory kills and just squishing human guys by running them over. You can just grab guys and, like, crush their head if you want. And you'll probably kill them. Like, normal humans have, like, probably between, like, 8 and 12 wounds normally. Like, you roll a d10 with some pluses. Yeah, no, with your strength bonus. Like, again, the Tech Marine has bionic arms and, like, muscle implants, so he can truly crush some heads. But, like, even a normal Space Marine, you can just do you don't have to punch to do unarmed. So, if you want to say you're unarmed is you just fucking shoulder check or flying knee some guys, you could probably just kill them that way.
I'm gonna give him a drop kick.
Oh my god, Space Marine drop kick. Your fucking power armor weighs like half a ton. On its own.
I love it. But no, we're very excited for Deathwatch.
Yeah. Got a variety of characters, got a variety of roles.
And
hopefully a variety of missions. I've like been very much in the tank working on missions because like it is fun to design more compact tactical objectives of just like literally the game wants me to outline things as primary, secondary, tertiary objectives. Here you go.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna record that tomorrow and it'll be posted sometime. If you want to be checking up on Rain, you can do that now, and keep your eyes peeled for Deathwatch. Like I said, we've been trying to get in the mood. We've been mood setting. I picked out what opening monologue to give because 40K has a lot of them. So yeah, we'll hope you guys shoot some hordes and try not to get shot too much.
Yeah.
Just as like an aside, I also tucked this into my notes. My like downtime game. Probably not tonight because it's almost 2 a.m. But like when I have a little bit of time at night, I've been playing 40K Bolt Gun. The 40K boomer shooter. It's free on PS Plus. It is pretty fun. It's a Doom literally a Doom clone. So like there are some times where you're one of those rooms full of guys and you'll get fucking killed, or you have to do first person shooter platforming.
Oh, that's always the worst.
But it is fun. It shows a wide variety of enemies, and there are a lot of funny different weapons in it. So it's a cool time. I recommend it to people. And like I said, it's got a great sense of humor. You have a dedicated taunt button. I don't think it does anything mechanical. It's just cool for you to press a button and your Space Marine will, like, crack his knuckles and be like, glory to the throne. For Ultramar, I will finish what Captain Titus started. Yeah, that's your idle animation is you just pull out the fucking Codex Astartes and flick through it. Mm-hmm, yes. But, like, it's been a good mood setter for Deathwatch.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Anything else? We're over 4 hours.
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, then, with it being almost 2 a.m., let's raporino it up-o. If you've been watching this video on YouTube, give us a like, leave a comment, join our Discord. Consider subbing for more stuff. Like I said, I don't know when another Wanted will be out, but we've got streams, we've got videos, we're going to try and, keep up the podcasting. And obviously, if you want to hear that Deathwatch campaign we're going to do, consider subbing to get those APs posted. Or consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get audio, little as $1 a month. It's our lowest tier. And at higher levels, you get other stuff, like listening to this show get recorded live. And at the highest tier, you get a shout-out on air, like Adam Hartplex, G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, Jimmy1000, Rise of Kenshi, Rogaman, and Charvor. Thank you all of our patrons and listeners. I think I said all the engagement stuff, so be sure to keep your ears and eyes peeled for hopefully there shall be a Let's Take FGO next week. Maybe. We'll see about a second banner. If not, it's because there's not much happening, but there are other things to check out, like our regular Monday streams. We're working on Okami. We're going to fight Orochi next time.
Yeah.
Get hype.
Hype. Ooh.
And like we said earlier, Wednesday, I will be playing the new patch, probably doing MSQ for the first time. So we'll be working on that.
Wait. Gotta blaze the trail.
Honestly, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Because usually we get a couple people who've done it, so we know that we have people who can do it and are caught up.
Yeah.
It's okay, Aaron, you'll catch up. And if you need help with dungeons, we can queue with you.
You're still in the free company, Thug Chicken.
Do we have a rank below Thug Chicken? I can't remember.
No.
Okay.
If you're inactive in the free company, you get put as Thug Chicken.
All right. But that's the stuff we got coming up. That's the stuff that's been happening. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good night.